In 1960, two researchers, Jacques Picard and Don Walsh, made a historic descent to the bottom of the Mariana Trench aboard the bathyscaphe Trieste. Entering the cabin, they encountered an extraordinary sense of confinement. The space was cramped, and each felt the walls closing in, the air growing heavier. The temperature of the surrounding water was close to zero, and even in the protected cabin of the Trieste, the biting cold was palpable. As the bathyscaphe began its descent, tension among the crew grew. Each meter they descended added to the pressure and anticipation. Outside, through the small portholes, it was pitch black, and only occasionally did dim shapes of marine life appear on the screens, leaving their hiding places on the path. The silence inside the cabin was deafening, broken only by the sounds of the mechanisms functioning under the immense pressure of the deep. In those moments, Picard and Walsh realized they were in a place where no human had been before. They were at a depth of 10,900 meters, making their journey not only scientific but also a spiritual test. The bathyscaphe, designed to withstand colossal forces, continued its descent smoothly, and the loss of contact with the surface added to the drama. They were cut off from the world, a unity they had once known. Each moment brought them closer to the unknown, creating a tension that could be cut with a knife. Simultaneously, they became increasingly aware that they were the first to see this dark, otherworldly beauty hidden beneath the ocean's surface. Soon, they reached the bottom of the trench, where the darkness was even more pronounced, and each of them understood that this was not just an exploration, but a moment that would forever change their perception of the world, and they had no idea what lay ahead. The Mariana Trench, located in the western part of the Pacific Ocean, is the deepest place on Earth. Its maximum depth reaches 10,900 meters, which is equivalent to the height of Mount Everest if it were turned upside down. The first documented exploration of this trench occurred in 1868, when scientists on board the British ship Challenger began measuring the ocean's depths. However, the Mariana Trench gained its true popularity in 1960, when the research vessel Trieste descended into the abyss and reached the bottom. The temperature at this depth is around 0 degrees Celsius, and the pressure exceeds 800 atmospheres, making this place a natural fortress, inaccessible to most life forms on the surface. Despite these extreme conditions, unique organisms such as amphipods have been discovered in the Mariana Trench, capable of adapting to the incredible pressure. These creatures, like ghosts, inhabit the dark waters, reminding us of how little we know about the depths of the ocean and its mysteries. Research of this trench continues, and each new expedition brings unexpected discoveries, highlighting that nature holds many secrets yet to be unraveled. Despite modern technologies and the efforts of scientists, the explored volume of the world ocean remains surprisingly small. According to statistics, only about 20% of the ocean depths have been studied, which casts doubt on our understanding of this vast water space. For comparison, according to NASA, we know much more about the surface of the moon, to which humanity has sent numerous missions, than about the mysterious depths of our oceans. This is paradoxical. We can detail the lunar relief using satellites and probes, while many parts of the ocean floor remain unexplored and hidden from view. Moreover, ocean research is limited not only by physical access but also by technological capabilities. For example, at depths exceeding 3 kilometers, pressure exceeds 300 atmospheres, creating serious difficulties for submersibles and research missions. As a result, there are vast areas that have not been studied, and their mysterious ecosystems may harbor secrets that we cannot even imagine. According to the latest data, only about 10% of the ocean floor has been mapped using modern technologies, which casts doubt on our understanding of marine flora and fauna. Each new ocean research project opens our eyes to the scale of the unknown, and perhaps we do not even suspect what may be hidden at depths of more than 10 kilometers. Deep-sea ecosystems are unique biomes that operate under conditions vastly different from those we observe on the surface. At depths exceeding 1,000 meters, there is constant high pressure, reaching over 100 atmospheres, making it impossible for most familiar forms of life to exist. In this complete darkness, where sunlight never penetrates, organisms have adapted to the absence of light, relying on entirely different energy sources. These ecosystems depend on chemosynthesis, a process where organisms use chemical reactions, such as the oxidation of hydrogen sulfide, to obtain energy. Temperatures in these depths can drop to just a few degrees above zero, And to survive in these conditions, animals and plants have evolved numerous unusual adaptations. For instance, some organisms have elastic bodies that allow them to withstand enormous pressure, while others possess specialized enzymes that are active only at low temperatures. These adaptations create the impression of an alien world where life seems to defy all known biological and physical laws. Deep-sea ecosystems, being isolated from the outside world, are a true laboratory of evolution, where unique species and communities have evolved over millions of years to survive in the most extreme conditions. In places like hydrothermal vents, life thrives despite the high toxicity of the environment, highlighting the incredible resilience and diversity of life forms on our planet. Anglerfish are a striking example of remarkable adaptation to life in the dark depths of the ocean. These creatures have evolved a unique mechanism for attracting prey. They possess a bioluminescent lure that glows in the darkness, creating the illusion of food for small fish and other marine creatures. Anglerfish can open their enormous mouths to capture prey, sometimes larger than themselves. This is made possible by elastic jaw ligaments that allow them to expand their jaws to extraordinary proportions. Additionally, their stomachs can digest such prey, which seems almost fantastical. They can absorb food that is several times larger than their own volume. The marked dimorphism between males and females is also noteworthy. Females are much larger and have a well-developed lure, while males are significantly smaller and often lose their independence, joining females for reproduction. These extraordinary adaptations make deep-sea anglerfish true masters of survival in extreme ocean conditions. At depths of more than 1,000 meters, they live in pitch darkness, where conditions seem to leave no chance for life, yet it is here that they have found their home. Giant squids, these mysterious creatures, serve as a symbol of the ocean's mysterious depths. The first evidence of their existence dates back to ancient Greek myths, where they are referred to as katabatis, or sea monsters, capable of dragging ships to the bottom. However, actual encounters with these creatures remained rare, and many sailors attributed their existence to mythical attributes. Scientific recognition of giant squids began only in the 19th century, when naturalists started collecting samples and recording them on paper. Even then, their study was extremely challenging. Squids inhabit significant depths, making it difficult to capture them alive, and many specimens caught in nets were already dead. The second half of the 20th century brought new technologies that allowed scientists to study these animals in their natural habitat. The first successful video recordings of live giant squids were made in 2010. Japanese researchers used specialized equipment and remotely operated underwater vehicles to capture these creatures in their natural environment. These recordings confirmed that squids can indeed reach lengths of up to 14 meters, and their behavior and appearance proved to be even more astonishing than scientists had previously imagined. Hydrothermal vents, known as black smokers, are remarkable underwater formations that develop at the boundaries of tectonic plates where magma is close to the surface. Through a process called hydrothermal activity, seawater penetrates the Earth's crust and is heated to high temperatures, exceeding 300 degrees Celsius. When the hot water emerges from these vents, it carries with it minerals such as sulfur, iron, and zinc, creating unique chemical conditions for life. Around these black smokers, ecosystems form, based not on sunlight, but on a chemical reaction known as chemosynthesis. Bacteria that use this reaction convert the chemicals released by the vents into organic compounds, which serve as food for other organisms, such as mollusks, crustaceans, and even giant tube worms that can reach lengths of up to 3 meters. These ecosystems are true oases of life on the ocean floor, characterized by unique biological diversity and complex food chains. The study of black smokers is not only crucial for understanding life on Earth, but also for searching for life on other planets, such as Europa, a moon of Jupiter, where subsurface oceans may contain similar conditions for the existence of chemosynthetic organisms. The discovery of these sources and their ecosystems broadens our understanding of how life can adapt to extreme conditions and emphasizes the importance of studying deep-sea ecosystems for future space exploration. In the 21st century, researchers have identified more than 100 such sources, each with its unique chemical composition and ecosystem. Deep ocean currents are invisible rivers flowing through the depths of the oceans, playing a crucial role in regulating the planet's climate. These currents, which transport colossal masses of water, can reach significant depths, and their impact on the atmosphere and oceanic ecosystems is difficult to overestimate. They act as giant conveyors, moving warm water from the tropics to the poles and cold water back, thereby regulating the Earth's thermal balance. This movement of water influences weather patterns, the formation of cyclones and anticyclones, and the distribution of precipitation worldwide. Consider this: when warm waters move northward, they raise the temperature of the air and can cause changes in climatic conditions, which in turn affect agriculture and ecosystems. Cold deep ocean currents, on the other hand, contribute to the cooling of regions, also having their own ecological consequences. These hidden water flows, merging and interacting with each other, create a complex network that affects the entire planet, from tropical forests to tundra. Each element of this system is interconnected, and a change in one current can lead to significant changes in other parts of the world. Ocean currents also play a critical role in the carbon cycle, transporting carbon from the atmosphere to deep waters, where it can remain for a long time. Therefore, deep ocean currents are an integral part of the global climate system, ensuring balance and stability necessary for the support of life on Earth. It is worth noting that without these invisible rivers, the climate system could be in chaos, with unpredictable consequences for all living organisms. The Gulf Stream is one of the most powerful ocean currents, playing a crucial role in shaping the climate of Europe. It originates in the Gulf of Mexico, where warm waters rise to the surface and flow northward along the eastern coast of the United States. The temperature of the Gulf Stream can reach up to 30 degrees Celsius in its warmest sections, making it one of the warmest currents in the world. The speed of the current varies, but on average, it is around 4 kilometers per hour. The Gulf Stream transports enormous volumes of water, approximately 100 million cubic meters per second, which is equivalent to the flow that could fill an Olympic-sized pool in just a few seconds. This current not only warms the western coast of Europe but also influences weather conditions, creating a milder climate in countries like the United Kingdom and Norway. However, in recent decades, scientists have begun to express concerns about the possible weakening of the Gulf Stream. Theories about its change in direction or slowing are linked to global warming and the increased inflow of freshwater into the North Atlantic, which could disrupt its balance. Some researchers suggest that if the Gulf Stream weakens, it could lead to a significant cooling of the climate in Europe and changes in weather patterns. For example, in the 90s of the 20th century, it was noted that the current was already showing signs of instability, which sparked further research and a wave of discussions among climatologists. The Gulf Stream is not just a current, it is an entire system that affects ecosystems and the economies of countries along its path. The deep ocean current in the Southern Ocean around Antarctica, known as the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, plays a crucial role in the global oceanic circulation system. It is formed due to temperature and salinity differences, creating powerful currents that encircle the continent and connect all the world's oceans. This current facilitates the redistribution of heat across the planet, influencing climate conditions not only in Antarctica but also beyond its borders. Additionally, it actively participates in the absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to regulate the levels of this greenhouse gas and slow down global warming. It is estimated that the Southern Ocean absorbs up to 10% of all carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere. However, changes in temperature and salinity caused by global warming could weaken or alter this current. This, in turn, could negatively impact the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, as a less effective current in absorbing carbon dioxide could lead to its accumulation in the atmosphere and exacerbate the greenhouse effect. Since this current also influences other oceanic circulation systems, its change could trigger a chain reaction affecting climate conditions worldwide. Scientists continue to study these processes, aiming to understand how changes in the Southern Ocean might impact the global climate system. In this context, it is particularly important to monitor the dynamics of temperature and salinity changes in this region, as these factors determine the stability and effectiveness of the circumpolar current, as well as its ability to control carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. The Bermuda Triangle is a geographical zone located in the western part of the Atlantic Ocean, bounded by points in Miami, the Bermuda Islands, and Puerto Rico. This area is renowned for its high incidence of incidents, including the disappearance of ships and aircraft. According to various estimates, Over 1,000 documented disappearances have occurred in the Bermuda Triangle, which has created an aura of mystery and enigma around this place. The local waters are characterized by unpredictable weather conditions and strong currents, which can negatively affect navigation. However, the boundaries of the Bermuda Triangle remain vague, and each researcher can propose their own variations. This region has become the subject of numerous speculations and theories, including ideas about extraterrestrial civilizations and underwater volcanoes, which only fuel interest in it. The mystical reputation of the Bermuda Triangle is firmly entrenched in popular culture, making it a popular setting for documentary films and works of fiction. Intriguing stories about lost ships and aircraft often overshadow rational explanations, creating a unique blend of facts and myths that attracts the attention of researchers and travelers from around the world. Scientists and researchers continue to study this area, but many questions remain unanswered, and each new disappearance sparks renewed interest and discussions. In December 1945, one of the most mysterious disappearances in aviation history occurred. 5 torpedo bombers from Squadron 19 vanished during a training flight over the Bermuda Triangle. 20 minutes after takeoff, the crew of 14 sent their final radio message, in which the pilot, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, reported navigation problems. His words were ominous. "We don't know where we are. We have problems with the compass." This message was the last known signal received by radio contact. Soon after, contact with Squadron 19 was lost. The search operation, initiated immediately after the disappearance, was one of the largest in the history of the U.S. Navy. Aircraft, ships, and submarines were deployed to cover vast areas of the ocean, but no wreckage or trace of the crew was found. The peculiar circumstances surrounding this tragedy have led to numerous theories, from technical malfunctions to more exotic speculations about paranormal phenomena. The disappearance of Squadron 19 remains a true enigma, captivating the minds of researchers and enthusiasts of mysteries to this day. Search efforts continued for several days, and the U.S. Navy spent around $200,000 on the operation, but all efforts were in vain, and the case was eventually closed without explanation. In March 1918, the American ship Cyclops disappeared in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle. This cargo ship, approximately 172 meters long, was one of the largest in its class and had a displacement of over 6,000 tons. On board were more than 250 people, including crew and passengers returning from Brazil to the United States. The last communication from Cyclops was on March 21st, when it was en route to Baltimore. That day, the ship did not send a distress signal, which was particularly concerning because it was equipped with modern communication devices for the time. The disappearance of Cyclops gave rise to numerous theories. Some suggest it encountered a severe storm, others propose a mutiny or an attack by a submarine. There are even theories involving supernatural forces, linking the disappearance to the legends of the Bermuda Triangle. However, none of these theories have been confirmed by facts, and the fate of Cyclops remains a mystery. Despite search operations, no wreckage or traces were found, which only served to heighten interest in this enigmatic incident. Scientific explanations for the Bermuda Triangle phenomenon are diverse and sometimes even astonishing. One of the most widely discussed theories is that of methane gas emissions from the ocean floor. Studies have shown that in certain areas of the ocean floor, there are accumulations of methane hydrates that, when disrupted, can cause sudden gas releases. These releases can reduce the density of water, making ships less stable and leading to their sinking. The second theory concerns magnetic field anomalies observed in this area. There are data suggesting that in the Bermuda Triangle, there are disruptions in navigation systems, which can cause ships and aircraft to become lost. Such anomalies could be caused by the movement of tectonic plates or changes in the geomagnetic field, which also require further study. Unusual weather phenomena, such as tropical storms and hurricanes, can also play a role. In this region, powerful storms often arise suddenly, attacking ships and causing them to founder. This is a natural phenomenon, but its strength and unpredictability make the situation extremely dangerous for sailors. Finally, the human factor cannot be overlooked. Poor decisions by captains, lack of preparation, or even panic in emergency situations can lead to catastrophic consequences. Studies have shown that in some cases, navigation errors and lack of knowledge about local conditions have been the cause of incidents. All these theories represent attempts to explain the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle from a scientific perspective, but so far, none of them provides a complete answer to the question of what is happening in this mysterious region. In recent years, new research has been conducted to gain a deeper understanding of this phenomenon. For example, in 2021, scientists from the University of Northumbria began a project to study methane emissions in this area to determine how dangerous they can be for maritime navigation. Sea devil or dragon's maw. This concept encompasses mysterious and dangerous oceanic phenomena, which are powerful whirlpools capable of pulling objects underwater. These whirlpools form due to complex interactions of currents, winds, and the characteristics of the seabed. Their strength and size can vary, but in some cases, they can create conditions where small vessels and even large ships become victims of these forces. Such phenomena have found their place in the maritime folklore of many cultures, where they are often depicted as fearsome creatures guarding their underwater realms and luring unsuspecting sailors. In the myths and legends of various peoples, the dragon's maw is imbued with mystical properties. It is believed to be able to carry a person's soul to the vast depths of the ocean or, conversely, to open a path to treasures that sank centuries ago. Some researchers link these myths to real observations by sailors who encountered anomalous phenomena on the water. For instance, sudden changes in weather, strong winds, and unexpected currents can create conditions where even experienced sailors can lose their bearings and become victims of these whirlpools. With the advancement of science and technology, researchers have begun to study these phenomena more thoroughly, attempting to unravel their nature and predict their behavior in various conditions. Although the myths about sea devils continue to live in the collective memory, the scientific basis behind these phenomena is becoming increasingly extensive and comprehensible. These whirlpools can reach diameters of several hundred meters and pose a significant threat to navigation, especially in poor visibility or rough seas. Maelstrom is a famous whirlpool located between the islands of the Lofoten archipelago in northwestern Norway. It stretches several kilometers in length and about 4 kilometers in width, creating an impressive sight as water spins rapidly, forming powerful currents. The speed of the current in the Maelstrom can reach 10 meters per second, making it one of the fastest whirlpools in the world. The frequency of its appearance is significantly influenced by tides. During high tide, the whirlpool becomes particularly intense and dangerous as water rushes rapidly through narrow straits. This phenomenon has attracted the attention not only of sailors, but also of writers. Edgar Allan Poe describes the Maelstrom in his work, The Fall of the House of Usher, as a symbol of the unpredictability of the ocean depths, while Jules Verne uses it as a backdrop in his novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, lending the story an atmosphere of mystery and danger. This whirlpool not only threatens the fate of sailors, but has also become a subject of study and inspiration for many artists and writers, highlighting its complex nature and influence on the perception of the sea. The Maelstrom is a unique combination of natural power and cultural heritage that continues to stir the imagination of people. Naruto Whirlpool, located in Japan, is one of the world's most famous and powerful whirlpools. It forms in a narrow strait between the islands of Awaji and Shikoku, where tidal currents meet, creating unique vortices. The size of the whirlpool varies, reaching a diameter of up to 40 meters, and the speed of the current can reach up to 21 kilometers per hour, making it extremely hazardous for navigation. This phenomenon depends on lunar cycles. During full moons and new moons, tides reach their maximum, resulting in the most intense vortices. In Japanese culture, the Naruto Whirlpool holds significant importance. It is mentioned in myths and legends, where it is believed that spirits dwell in its waters, protecting people from maritime dangers. Local residents traditionally held the whirlpool in respect and awe, creating rituals to appease the spirits. In modern times, Naruto has become a popular tourist attraction. Special boat tours are conducted, allowing tourists to witness the whirlpool in action. Many visitors come not only to marvel at this natural wonder, but also to experience the thrill of observing the power and beauty of the elements. The Naruto Whirlpool has become a symbol of the region, drawing both Japanese and foreign tourists who seek to behold its grandeur and feel its power. The Saltstraumen in Norway is considered the world's most powerful tidal current. It forms in the strait between the islands of Molloy and Kennesoy, where the sea water meets the fjord water. The maximum flow speed reaches 36 kilometers per hour, allowing the current to grow to impressive dimensions. The strait is about 100 meters wide, and it is in this narrow passage that a powerful exchange of water occurs between the two seas. The current changes direction twice a day, creating unique conditions for the local ecosystem. Water passing through the Saltstraumen brings with it nutrients, promoting the rapid growth of seaweed and attracting a large number of fish, including cod and herring. This makes the current an important site for fishing and marine ecosystems in the region. Local fishermen know that fishing in this area is particularly successful when the currents change, making the Saltstraumen a true fish trap. Sunken cities and civilizations present themselves as mysterious and enticing objects of study hidden beneath the waters of oceans and seas. These underwater ruins, like lost treasures, preserve the histories of entire peoples who once thrived on the surface but now lie in the embrace of the deep. Various theories exist regarding the causes of these settlements' submersion, from catastrophic natural phenomena such as earthquakes and tsunamis to human activities, including climate change and flooding due to dam construction. Archaeologists and researchers, diving into these watery realms, strive to reconstruct the past by studying the artifacts and architectural elements that remain, which can shed light on the lives of people, their culture, beliefs, and way of life. These submerged cities serve as temporal capsules, allowing us to peer into epochs when technology and lifestyle were vastly different. Investigations of such sites open new horizons for understanding human history, as each discovery can alter our perception of how civilizations evolved. Diving into these places requires not only technical proficiency, but also courage, for the underwater world is full of surprises and mysteries. Technologies used for underwater archaeological research are continually advancing, enabling more precise data collection and the restoration of lost cultural connections. For instance, the use of underwater robots and 3D modeling allows researchers not only to document finds but also to recreate images of submerged cities in digital format, making them accessible to the wider public. Exploration of these underwater ruins not only enriches our scientific foundation, but also inspires new discoveries and reflections on our connection to the past, for each find may hold the key to unraveling historical enigmas. Sunken city of Pavlopetri off the coast of Greece is one of the most fascinating archaeological discoveries, dating back approximately 5,000 years. Located in shallow waters near the coast of Laconia, the city has preserved a clear street plan and distinct remains of buildings, allowing scholars to reconstruct its appearance. In Pavlopetri, archaeologists have explored direct streets intersecting at right angles and discovered structures that likely served public and residential purposes. Among the artifacts found are ceramics, tools, and even items that may have been used in daily life, providing insights into the daily life of its inhabitants. One of the most debated topics is the cause of the city's flooding. There are several theories. Some researchers suggest that a strong earthquake was the main cause, while others point to gradual sea level rise due to climate change and melting glaciers. This unique discovery not only aids in reconstructing ancient culture, but also raises important questions about how natural disasters can impact human settlements. It is worth noting that Pavlopetri is considered one of the oldest known sunken cities, making it a valuable subject for further research. Yonaguni City, located off the southern coast of Japan, has been a subject of debate among archaeologists and geologists for several decades. Supporters of the theory that this structure is man-made point to the presence of straight angles and steps that appear to be artificially created platforms. These geometric shapes, they argue, indicate that Yonaguni was once part of a developed civilization that left traces of its existence beneath the waves. They cite unusual structures such as staircases and terraces that are difficult to explain without human intervention. Meanwhile, geologists counter with the argument that these formations could have been created by natural erosion. They suggest that waves and currents could have formed such features as parallel lines and indentations that resemble steps. They also point out that similar geological structures are found in other places, which could indicate a natural origin for the object. Notably, research reveals a variety of forms, from large platforms to narrow passages. making the question of Yanaguni's origin even more complex. This site attracts both scholars and tourists, each seeing in it something unique, which underscores the multifaceted nature of historical objects. At a depth of about 20 meters beneath the water, the city remains a mystery, waiting to be unraveled, as its unique forms continue to raise numerous questions about the time and people who might have built it. Heracleion, also known as Thonis, was one of the largest port cities of ancient Egypt and remained forgotten for centuries until its ruins were discovered in the early 2000s. In the year 2001, a French expedition led by oceanographer Francis Lalande began investigating the coastal zone of Egypt and found underwater remnants of the city at a depth of about 7 meters. Archaeologists discovered beautifully preserved monuments and temples that once served as places of worship. Among them stands out the temple dedicated to the goddess Isis, and statues of pharaohs that majestically stand in their places, despite the centuries spent underwater. The submerged city also contains sunken ships, which were likely used for trade with other regions. Some of these ships carried cargoes of pottery and other goods, indicating the wealth and importance of Heracleion as a trade center. The causes of the city's flooding remain a subject of debate among scientists. One theory suggests that a catastrophic earthquake could have caused landslides and flooding, while another version proposes that changes in sea level and coastal erosion played a key role in this process. It is important to note that archaeological finds in Heracleion are opening a new chapter in the understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization and its interaction with the surrounding world. Research continues, and each new discovery adds details to the picture of the daily life and culture of this mysterious city. Submerged ruins of Dvarka, located off the coast of India, present a mysterious object of study for archaeologists and historians. These ruins, estimated to be around 9,000 years old, are associated with the legendary city described in the ancient Indian epic Mahabharata. According to this epic, Dvarka was the capital of King Krishna and was considered one of the greatest cities of its time, boasting advanced infrastructure and magnificent architecture. Research indicates that the ruins have a clear geometric layout, indicating a high level of urban planning skill among ancient Indians. Archaeologists have found paved streets, residential quarters, and even remnants of walls, which suggest that Dvarka was a well-designed and organized city, not a random settlement. The discovery of these underwater structures not only confirms the existence of a highly advanced civilization in this region, but also forces scholars to reevaluate the chronology of urban civilization development in India. Previously, it was believed that such cities began to emerge much later, and the findings in Dvarka challenge this notion, opening new horizons for understanding the history of urbanization in South Asia. Thus, the submerged Dvarka becomes a significant element in the mosaic of history, highlighting the complexity and diversity of civilizations that existed on the territory of India thousands of years ago. Archaeologists have also found fragments of pottery and tools, further confirming the active presence of humans in this area. Sunken ships serve as remarkable underwater museums, preserving the history of humanity. These silent witnesses of the past remain in their original form due to unique conditions found at the bottom of oceans and seas. Water protects them from the destructive effects of time, turning them into capsules that capture moments of their era. Each sunken ship is more than just metal and wood. It is a whole life, the stories of sailors, traders, and explorers who once navigated the seas. Archaeologists and historians see in these remains not only artifacts, but also keys to unlocking lost knowledge about navigation, trade, and even the culture of entire peoples. Studying such finds allows scientists to reconstruct the picture of how technologies evolved, how trade routes changed, and what historical events could have influenced the fate of these ships. It is important to note that every detail, whether it be the remaining cargo, personal belongings of the crew, or construction features, provides valuable information about the time and place when the ship was built and used. For example, preserved cargo holds can tell us about trade links between regions and how goods were transported around the world. Sunken ships sometimes also become homes for marine creatures, creating unique ecosystems that are themselves objects of study. These underwater monuments not only enrich our history, but also serve as a reminder of how vulnerable and changeable humanity is in the face of the vast ocean expanses. With each new discovery, archaeologists and historians continue to deepen our understanding of the past, and the discovery of new sunken ships can fundamentally change our understanding of entire eras. Today, there are more than 30,000 known sunken ships, and many of them still await discovery. The sunken Titanic lies at a depth of approximately 3,000 meters on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean, and its condition arouses great interest among both scientists and history enthusiasts. The ship, which sank in 1912, became a victim not only of tragedy but also of time. Bacteria actively act on its hull, which feed on iron, causing the Titanic to lose about 10 centimeters of its structure each year. Salty water also contributes to corrosion, leading to the formation of rust and the destruction of parts. The discovery of the Titanic wreck occurred in 1985 thanks to an expedition led by Robert Ballard, who used special submersibles to explore the ocean floor. As a result, unique photographs and videos were made, showing the state of the ship and its preservation. Since then, numerous expeditions have taken place, each bringing new finds, from personal belongings of passengers to elements of the ship itself, which were raised to the surface for study. However, with each new discovery, an ethical question arises. How should we treat the site where more than 1,000 people perished? Many believe that the Titanic should remain untouched as a maritime memorial, while others argue that studying its remains can provide important scientific knowledge about maritime and engineering practices of the time. As a result, ethical debates around the Titanic continue, and each new expedition raises the question of how far we can go in researching this historical tragedy. The artifacts found help to reconstruct the events of that night when the Titanic collided with an iceberg, but each of them also reminds us of the human lives that remain in the depths of the ocean. Laguna Truck, now known as Chuck, became one of the most famous underwater graveyards of military equipment after the Hailstone operation conducted in 1944. In this area, the U.S. Air Force launched a devastating attack on the Japanese fleet, sinking more than 60 ships, including destroyers, cruisers, and transport vessels. The operation was part of a strategy to weaken Japanese positions in the Pacific Ocean and was one of the largest air attacks in the history of the war. As a result of the powerful bombings and torpedo attacks, a large part of the fleet ended up at the bottom of the lagoon, turning this place into a unique underwater museum that preserved the traces of war. The current state of this underwater cemetery is impressive. Many of the sunken ships have been well preserved, and divers from all over the world visit Truck to explore them. Here, one can see both well-preserved ship hulls and piles of debris, among which there are even tanks and artillery pieces. The water in the lagoon is crystal clear, allowing these historical relics to be seen at depths of up to 30 meters. The place attracts not only diving enthusiasts but also historians who study the consequences of the war and its impact on the Pacific region. Laguna Truck has become a symbol of the tragedy and losses suffered during World War II, as well as a reminder of the fragility of human life in the midst of military conflicts. Many of the ships that sank here still carry on board cargo that was once intended for soldiers, creating a special atmosphere, as if time had stopped among the rusted debris. Research shows that the lagoon is also important for the ecology of the region, as artificial reefs created by the sunken ships serve as homes for various marine creatures. The sunken ship Vasa is a masterpiece of the Swedish Navy from the 17th century, which has become a symbol of disaster and an extraordinary tale of rescue. On February 16, 1628, Vasa embarked on its first and final voyage, but just 40 minutes after leaving the port of Stockholm, it sank in the Baltic Sea. The cause of the sinking was the ship's insufficient stability. Vasa was overloaded, had a narrow hull, and lacked sufficient ballast, making it vulnerable to strong gusts of wind. The ship sank only 800 meters from the shore, and its remains lay on the ocean floor for more than 300 years. The conditions of the Baltic Sea contributed to the remarkable preservation of Vasa, as the cold and salty water slowed down the decomposition of the wood. In 1961, a complex process of raising the ship began, which lasted several years. Specialists used systems of lifting beams and airbags to carefully lift Vasa to the surface. Conservation was the next crucial step. To prevent the destruction of the wood, scientists applied methods such as injecting a special polymer solution, which preserved the structure of the wood and prevented further decay. Today, Vasa is exhibited in the museum of the same name in Stockholm, where it annually attracts millions of tourists eager to see the unique artifact that vividly tells the story of Sweden's maritime history. The Antikythera shipwreck, which occurred around 100 years before our era, became a significant event for archaeology and history. In 1900, divers exploring a sunken ship off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera discovered an extraordinary cargo. On the seabed, they found statues, coins, ceramics, and numerous other artifacts that attested to the high level of trade and cultural exchange in antiquity. Among the finds was the Antikythera mechanism, the oldest known analog computer, designed for astronomical calculations. This mechanism, composed of numerous gears and wheels, demonstrated that the technologies of the ancient world were far more advanced than previously thought. Scientists struggled for a long time to understand its purpose, and it was only after many years that its secrets were finally unraveled. The Antikythera mechanism could predict solar and lunar eclipses and determine the positions of planets. The discovery of this device fundamentally changed our understanding of the scientific achievements of the ancient Greeks, highlighting their engineering prowess and deep knowledge of astronomy. The cargo retrieved from the sea included over 300 bronze and marble objects, among which was the famous statue of a youth known as the Antikythera youth. This artifact served as an important testament to the artistic skill of its time and demonstrated the high value placed on art in antiquity. The discovery of the Antikythera shipwreck opened new horizons for research and allowed for a re-evaluation of many aspects of Mediterranean trade and technology. The significance of this discovery is difficult to overestimate, as it provided insights into how civilizations developed in ancient times and the knowledge they already possessed. Ghost ships and maritime folklore are one of the most enigmatic and mystical themes that captivate the imagination of sailors and researchers. Legends of ships sailing without a crew are shrouded in mystery and evoke a sense of unease, prompting reflection on the stories hidden behind their appearance. These mythical vessels are often associated with loss, tragedy, and unresolved fates, lending them a unique aura. For centuries, sailors have shared tales of such ships appearing in fog or under the bright light of the moon, creating an atmosphere of unreality. The origins of these stories may be linked to psychological aspects of maritime life. Prolonged isolation, stress, and fatigue can give rise to hallucinations and strange images. Ghost ships also symbolize fear of the unknown, the vast ocean where one can easily lose one's bearings and encounter the inexplicable. These legends have been passed down through generations, accumulating new details and interpretations, making them an integral part of maritime culture. They serve not only for entertainment, but also to explain the unpredictability of the ocean, which can bestow life or drag it into the abyss. Different cultures view ghost ships in various ways. For some, they are omens of misfortune, while for others, they are symbols of hope for return. These stories form a unique cultural code that helps sailors find meaning in their dangerous profession and create images that convey the essence of human experience at sea. One of the most famous legends is the story of a ship that never returned to port, leaving behind only the whisper of waves and fear for those who dare to venture into the open sea. Tales of such ships have become firmly entrenched in folklore and have formed the basis for numerous works of art, literature, and cinema, reflecting deep human fears and hopes in the face of the vast and unpredictable ocean. As a result, ghost ships remain an integral part of maritime mythology, continuing to inspire new generations who dream of adventures on the waves. There are numerous accounts of encounters with such ships that remain unsolved mysteries, adding a touch of mystique to the daily lives of sailors and researchers. The Flying Dutchman is undoubtedly the most famous ghost ship in world culture, and its legend dates back to the 17th century when seafaring was actively developing, and sailors began telling tales of their mysterious encounters with spectral ships. According to one of the most popular versions, Captain Van der Decken, who commanded the Flying Dutchman, was a cruel and arrogant man who, according to legend, tried to pass Cape of Good Hope in a storm despite warnings of bad weather. His audacity led to his being cursed and condemned to eternal sailing, unable to set foot on land. As a result of this curse, the ship became a ghost, appearing in the most unexpected places, causing terror and awe among sailors. There are numerous accounts of encounters with this spectral ship. Sailors reported a bright light emanating from the Flying Dutchman, its mysterious appearance in fog, and even its terrifying crew of the dead. These stories were passed down through generations, becoming part of maritime folklore. The legend of the Flying Dutchman inspired numerous works of art, from operas like Richard Wagner's The Flying Dutchman to films such as Pirates of the Caribbean, where the ship became a symbol of doom and inevitable evil. This mythology also found expression in music, where composers use images of ghosts and the sea to create a gloomy atmosphere, emphasizing the mystery and danger of maritime voyages. The image of the Flying Dutchman has become an archetype, symbolizing the inevitability of fate and the sacrifice that sailors make in pursuit of adventure. The story of the Mary Celeste begins in 1872, when the ship was found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean without a crew. The vessel had set sail from New York to Genoa under the command of Benjamin Briggs. When discovered, the Mary Celeste was in pristine condition. Its sails were raised, and there were no signs of damage. However, strange occurrences soon became apparent. The table was set for a meal, there was an unfinished bottle of alcohol in the cabin, and the lifeboat, the primary means of rescue, was missing. This raised numerous questions about the fate of the crew, who disappeared without a trace. Some researchers suggested that a pirate attack had occurred, but no evidence of violence was found. Others proposed that the crew might have been poisoned by alcohol fumes, as there was a large supply of alcohol on board. Another theory suggested that the sailors may have abandoned the ship out of fear of sinking or other unforeseen circumstances. The crew of the Mary Celeste was declared missing, and over the years, numerous theories have been put forward to explain their disappearance, from mental illness among the crew to a raid by sea pirates. The ship, once a symbol of hope and trade, has become an emblem of mystery and unsolved puzzles, leaving behind many unanswered questions. The schooner Carroll A. Deering was discovered off the coast of North Carolina in 1921 without a crew, causing a real stir in society. The last known contact with the ship occurred in early January of the same year when it left the port in Maine, bound for Virginia to perform cargo work. However, by mid-January, Deering had lost contact and the search dragged on. When the ship was found, it was in a sorry state. Its masts were broken, and there was not a soul on board. No signs of struggle were found on the deck, but the ship was noticeably damaged, leading investigators to suspect a sudden and violent fate for the crew. The U.S. government initiated a large-scale investigation, interviewing local residents and exploring all possible theories. Some theories suggested that the crew might have been victims of a mutiny or piracy, while others pointed to a possible connection with the mysterious Bermuda Triangle, known for its sudden disappearances of ships and aircraft. Rumors also circulated that Deering might have been involved in smuggling. Despite all efforts, the true cause of the crew's disappearance remained unsolved, and the ship became part of a legend, surrounded by myths and speculation. As a result of this case, several books and documentaries were created, not only exploring the incident, but also broader historical contexts such as piracy and maritime banditry, highlighting how one vanished ship can unexpectedly intertwine with the history of entire eras. Modern cases of the discovery of ghost ships continue to generate interest and controversy, and one of the most striking examples is the yacht Scottsville, found in 2007 off the coast of Australia. This yacht, without a crew and with an empty cockpit, became a symbol of mystery, as no one knew how it ended up in the open sea without people on board. Meanwhile, off the coast of Japan, Northern Korean ghost ships are frequently found, which also raise many questions. These vessels are usually in a state of disrepair, with battered hulls and sometimes with dead bodies on board, raising issues of refugees and smuggling. There are numerous mystical interpretations of these discoveries, from theories of a sea curse to legends of ghost sailors, but rational explanations seem more plausible. For instance, in the case of Scottsville, experts suggest that the yacht may have lost control due to technical failure, or that its owner may have been a victim of an accident. In the case of the Northern Korean ships, the causes are much more tragic. Many of them may be the result of escape from the regime, where sailors risk everything to seek a better life. These events highlight the stark difference between romantic notions of ghosts and the harsh reality where each lost ship carries a story of despair, risk, and human fate. There are even cases where ships lost decades ago are found, underscoring how the sea can keep its secrets and how reality can intertwine with myths. Marine monsters occupy a special place in the culture of peoples around the world, serving as symbols of the unknown depths and representations of what lies beyond the boundaries of our understanding. For centuries, humanity has looked at the oceans with awe and fear, imagining that beneath the smooth surface dwell creatures that can both protect and destroy. These fears and fantasies permeate the mythologies of various peoples, reflecting our need to explain the inexplicable. Myths about monsters in the seas often served as a metaphor for describing the unpredictability of nature and human existence, showing how easily one can become a victim of forces beyond our control. Over the centuries, these ideas have evolved, but the core concept has remained unchanged. The ocean, with its bottomless depths and mysterious inhabitants, is a source of both inspiration and fear. In the present day, cryptozoology continues to explore this mythical world, fueling interest in mysterious creatures that might inhabit waters where science has not yet ventured. There are deep-sea regions, such as the Mariana Trench, that remain largely unexplored, and it is here, according to some researchers, that unknown creatures may be hiding, about which we can only speculate. Scientific expeditions and technological advancements allow us to explore these uncharted territories, but each new step raises more questions than answers. In this context, marine monsters become more than just myths or legends. They are symbols of our fears of what we cannot control or fully understand. Kraken is not merely a mythical creature, but an archetypal sea monster that has evolved from Scandinavian legends to contemporary interpretations. In its earliest mentions, Kraken was depicted as a giant octopus capable of pulling entire ships into its embrace. These legends originated in Norway and other Scandinavian countries, where sailors frequently encountered massive squids, inspiring the creation of myths. In the 18th century, Kraken became a symbol of unknown deep-sea danger, as evidenced by captains' accounts of encounters with it. The scientific interpretation of this creature emerged as scientists began to classify deep-sea inhabitants and discovered that there are indeed giant squid species, such as Architeuthis ducks, which can reach lengths of over 14 meters. This scientific approach did not diminish the mythical nature of Kraken, but rather added depth and realism to it. In literature, Kraken became a popular character thanks to authors like Jules Verne, who described it in his novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as a fearsome creature capable of instilling terror in sailors. This image was subsequently adopted in other works, including modern films, where Kraken is sometimes portrayed not only as a monster but also as a metaphor for human fears and unexplored horizons. For example, in the film Pirates of the Caribbean, this mythical sea monster becomes a central element of the plot, vividly illustrating how traditional myths can adapt to modern realities and audience expectations. Kraken represents a unique combination of reality and myth, making its image particularly multifaceted and interesting for study. Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, is arguably the most famous cryptid of modern times, becoming a symbol of Scottish folklore and a subject of numerous investigations. The first reports of strange creatures in Loch Ness date back to the 6th century, when St. Columba supposedly encountered something unusual that nearly carried off his friend. However, the real sensation began in 1934 when the famous surgeon's photograph was published in the Daily Mail, taken by Dr. Robert K. Wilson. The photograph shows something resembling a long neck and head of a creature emerging from the water. This image quickly became an icon, sparking both enthusiasm and debate over its authenticity. Over the years, numerous expeditions have been conducted in search of Nessie, employing sonar and underwater cameras, but the results remained inconclusive. In 1991, British scientists conducted a large-scale investigation using a submersible, but this also failed to provide any definitive proof of the monster's existence. Scientific theories about the nature of the sightings range from explanations that these could be known animals like sturgeons or seals to suggestions that they are merely optical illusions caused by the peculiarities of the water's surface. Nevertheless, the cultural significance of Nessie for Scotland is hard to overstate. It has become not only a tourist attraction but also a symbol of national identity, drawing thousands of tourists and researchers each year. It is worth noting that even without concrete evidence, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster continues to live in people's hearts and inspire new investigations. In the 18th and 19th centuries, sailors frequently reported encounters with mysterious sea serpents, which became the basis for numerous myths and legends. One of the most famous incidents occurred in 1848 when the captain of the HMS Daedalus, while near the island of St. Lucia, described a long, serpent-like creature that appeared on the water's surface. In his report, he noted that the creature was approximately 30 feet long and had a smooth, shiny scales. The captain also observed that the serpent had large eyes and a long tail, which attracted the attention of his experienced crew. This report was published in various maritime journals and sparked great interest among researchers. Other sightings were also recorded in ship logs, such as in 1830 when several sailors from the crew of the merchant ship Medusa described an encounter with a massive creature resembling a serpent, which they said swam alongside their ship in the Atlantic Ocean. These records highlight that sailors often describe their observations with great enthusiasm, but also with a clear sense of fear. Scientific hypotheses attempting to explain these sightings range from rare fish species like eels or giant squids to optical illusions caused by light refraction on the water's surface. Some researchers suggested that sailors might have seen large jellyfish or even long shadows created by underwater currents. Despite the variety of interpretations, the fact remains that the descriptions of sea serpents in sailors' reports from the 18th and 19th centuries remain a mystery that continues to captivate the imagination of people to this day. In 1938, off the coast of southern Africa, fishermen caught a strange fish that initially seemed unusual to them. It was a coelacanth, a fish believed to have gone extinct around 65 million years ago. The scientific community was stunned. Coelacanth belonged to an ancient group of lobe-finned fish that were thought to have disappeared along with the dinosaurs. Soon after this discovery, scientists began studying this species, and the find had a profound impact on paleontology. Coelacanth became a sort of living fossil, providing valuable insights into the evolution of vertebrates. This discovery demonstrated that some species could survive despite catastrophic changes on the planet. Scientists began to realize that the ocean harbors many mysteries, and the discovery of the coelacanth underscores that there may be other unknown species waiting to be discovered in the depths. Further research led to the discovery of additional coelacanth specimens, allowing scientists to delve deeper into its anatomy and behavior. These fish are distinguished by their unique fin structure, which resembles the limbs of terrestrial animals, supporting theories about how life might have transitioned from water to land. The sounds of the ocean create a remarkable symphony that permeates the depths of the sea. From the rhythmic whisper of the waves gently lapping against the shore to the deep and powerful cries of whales that can be heard for dozens of kilometers, the world of underwater sounds is full of mysteries. These acoustic phenomena shape a unique atmosphere where each drop of water can tell its own story. Hydrophones placed in various corners of the world capture not only the familiar sounds of marine creatures, but also unknown noises that can be both frightening and captivating. Each sound is more than just noise. It is a part of a complex ecosystem where animals communicate, hunt, and defend themselves. For instance, the sounds made by dolphins can have different meanings depending on the context and situation they are in. These signals not only convey information but also create a whole language of communication among themselves. An ocean filled with such sounds seems like a living entity with its own secrets and stories. While some of these sounds may be understandable only to their creators, others remain inaccessible to the human ear or require special equipment for their deciphering. In this underwater world, not everything can be explained, and each new recording can add new notes to this grand symphony. Unlike the sounds of land, which often depend on the time of day and weather conditions, underwater sounds have their own unique dynamics and can reach the ears of listeners even in the most remote corners of the ocean. This creates a sense that the ocean is always speaking, always sharing its secrets with those who are willing to listen. Ultimately, the sounds of the ocean can be the key to understanding not only marine life but also the nature of the ocean itself, its state, and the changes that occur in its depths. The bloop, an inexplicable acoustic phenomenon recorded in 1997. This sound, detected at depths exceeding 3,000 meters in the southern part of the Pacific Ocean, has an extraordinarily low frequency of around 14 Hz and a striking amplitude, enabling it to travel vast distances. The first mention of the bloop came from researchers using hydrophones to monitor ocean sounds. Unlike most sounds produced by marine life, this phenomenon lacks a clear source, leading to numerous theories about its origin. Some scientists propose that it could be caused by an unknown type of whale producing such low-frequency sounds for long-distance communication. Others suggest that it might be due to geological processes such as underwater eruptions or even earthquakes, which could generate similar sound waves. The bloop has become the subject of intense research, as its appearance coincided with several natural disasters, adding to its mystery. The recorded sound waves did not match any known marine creature, further fueling the interest of oceanographers and biologists. Research continues, and scientists hope that further recordings will help unravel the mystery of this unique sound. It is worth noting that such phenomena can reveal new insights into the interaction between the marine environment and its inhabitants. Julia's whistle is an unusual sound recorded by hydrophones in the Pacific Ocean in 1999. This sound has unique acoustic characteristics that cast doubt on its biological origin. Unlike known sounds produced by marine creatures, such as whale songs or dolphin clicks, Julia's whistle has a lower frequency and periodicity, making it more reminiscent of an artificial source. The sound was recorded at a frequency of around 45 Hz and had a characteristic, pure, and prolonged tone that lasts from several seconds to several minutes, with a periodicity repeating approximately every 20 minutes. Scientific hypotheses about the origin of the whistle range from the idea that it could be a result of underwater volcanic activity to the suggestion that it could be a sound produced by large marine mammals or even unknown forms of life. Some researchers have even proposed that Julia's whistle could be related to human activity, such as the noise from submarines or drilling rigs. However, none of these hypotheses have been definitively confirmed, and Julia's whistle remains one of the most mysterious acoustic anomalies in the oceans. It's important to note that sounds of this kind can provide valuable information about the state of the marine ecosystem and how various factors, including climate change, affect the acoustic environment of the ocean. Scientists continue to study this phenomenon, trying to determine which processes may be behind it and how they might influence life in the ocean. In 1997, a mysterious sound known as the uplift signal was recorded in the Indian Ocean. It attracted the attention of scientists due to its unique characteristics. The sound manifested as a sudden increase in frequency, giving the impression that it was rising to the surface. The duration of this signal ranged from 30 to 50 seconds, adding to its enigma, considering that such phenomena typically have much shorter time frames. Geographically, the signal was detected in an area known as the Mauritius Slope, suggesting that its source could be at significant depth, where various geological processes are concentrated. Theories about the origin of the uplift signal range from presumed seismic activity to hypotheses that it could come from unknown biological sources, such as deep-sea creatures. The latter version is particularly intriguing as it suggests the existence of life forms that have not yet been discovered and are capable of producing sounds at such frequencies. Research continues, and each new piece of information about the uplift signal only serves to heighten interest in its mysteries. Additionally, the sound has become a topic of discussion among oceanographers, as its nature could provide insights not only into the acoustic environment of the ocean, but also into the deep-sea ecosystems themselves. It is worth noting that many researchers link this signal to geological phenomena, such as underwater earthquakes or volcanic activity, which could explain its sudden frequency changes. However, the exact origin of the sound remains unclear, and this question continues to puzzle scientists. The sound was recorded using specialized equipment designed for monitoring underwater acoustic phenomena, highlighting the importance of technological advancements in contemporary oceanographic research. Biosonar communication among humpback whales is a remarkable phenomenon that captivates not only scientists but also a broad audience. These marine giants are renowned for their complex songs, which can last up to 40 minutes and include a variety of sound patterns, from low-frequency moans to high-pitched whistles. Researchers have discovered that humpback whales from different regions have their own dialects, differing in melody and rhythm. For instance, whales inhabiting the Caribbean sing differently from their counterparts near the Hawaiian coast. This regional variability demonstrates how cultural traits can develop in isolated groups. Over time, humpback whale melodies also evolve. Changes in their songs are observed every few years, which may be linked to social interactions within groups. The range of sound propagation underwater is impressive. Sound waves can travel up to 500 kilometers, allowing whales to communicate over long distances. Theories about the functional significance of these vocalizations are diverse, ranging from attracting mates during the breeding season to conveying information about food sources or even dangers. Studies indicate that whales use their songs to form social bonds and create group identities, underscoring the importance of sound in their lives. In some cases, scientists even hypothesize that humpback whales may transmit cultural knowledge, similar to how humans pass down folklore. In a recent study, it was observed that young whales imitated the songs of older males, which could suggest the transmission of experience and skills. This complex communication system makes humpback whales not only one of the most fascinating creatures on the planet, but also important carriers of marine culture. In this context, it is important to note that studying their songs can provide insights not only into their behavior, but also into the ecosystem as a whole. Deep-sea anomalies are mysterious and sometimes frightening phenomena that occur at great depths in oceans and seas. These anomalies are the subject of study for scientists eager to unravel their secrets, but many remain unexplored. Modern instruments record unusual sound signals, temperature and pressure changes, and visual anomalies that do not fit within the familiar framework of scientific understanding. Reports emerge of strange glowing objects moving in dark depths and of unusual forms of life that raise more questions than answers. These observations give rise to numerous theories, from hypotheses about previously unknown forms of life to speculations about the impact of geological processes on marine ecosystems. Each new signal or observation adds another layer to this scientific enigma, prompting researchers to delve deeper into the study of oceanic depths. Since most deep-sea research takes place in inaccessible locations, understanding these anomalies requires not only advanced technologies but also courage in interpreting the collected data. Scientists use submersibles and autonomous systems to gather information, but even the most advanced devices cannot explain all the phenomena observed on the ocean floor. These enigmatic manifestations underscore how little we know about the depths of the sea and what they may conceal. The scientific community continues to investigate these mysterious phenomena, seeking to understand what lies behind them and how they might change our understanding of marine biology and geology. In this context, the question becomes intriguing. How deep do these mysteries run, and what role might they play in future scientific discoveries? The Baltic anomaly is a mysterious circular object discovered on the floor of the Baltic Sea in 2011. It has sparked widespread interest and controversy among scientists and adventurers alike. Visually, the anomaly resembles the Death Star from Star Wars, adding to its enigma. The object's diameter is approximately 90 meters, and its surface is marked with peculiar traces that appear as if something has indeed flown over it. These traces are deep furrows leading to the anomaly, suggesting that it may have been created or used by an intelligent entity. However, the most intriguing aspect of this discovery is the anomalies in the functioning of electrical equipment near the object. Researchers report malfunctions in navigation systems and other devices, fueling theories about the object's possible artificial origin. Scientists are divided into two camps. Some argue that it is merely a natural formation, such as remnants of an ancient glacier, while others insist that it is evidence of extraterrestrial technology or a sunken ship. This polarization of views has led to heated debates that only serve to intensify interest in the object. Additionally, other anomalies have been found on the seabed that may be connected to this discovery, but their origins remain unclear. In the year 2001, off the coast of Cuba, unusual underwater structures known as the Cuban Underwater Pyramid were discovered. These formations exhibit geometrically precise shapes that resemble urban planning, raising numerous questions about their origin. Situated at a depth of approximately 700 meters, these structures are difficult to access for researchers. If we assume these constructions are artificial, their age could be immense, possibly spanning thousands of years. However, aside from the scientific debates about the nature of these formations, there is also a political aspect that complicates research. Cuba, under economic blockade, faces challenges in attracting international scientific teams to study such findings. As a result, many data remain inaccessible, and research is delayed due to the division among scientists who support and oppose the theory that these structures could have been created by an ancient civilization. Why have these structures remained unnoticed for so long? It may be due to their depth or the lack of modern technologies for their study. Some researchers claim that these very forms could be evidence of the existence of a highly advanced culture about which we know nothing. Over the years, various hypotheses have been proposed, from natural processes to theories about lost civilizations, but clear answers are lacking. Perception of these objects ranges from scientific interest to conspiracy theories, adding intrigue to this already mysterious topic. Today, these underwater structures remain one of the most enigmatic objects awaiting full investigation. Japanese underwater monuments off the island of Yonaguni are one of the most controversial archaeological discoveries. These structures, located at a depth of around 25 meters, have distinctive straight angles and stepped forms, raising questions about their origin. Some researchers point to the presence of apparent columns and platforms, suggesting that these structures were created by human hands. Meanwhile, geologists argue that these forms are the result of natural processes of sandstone erosion over thousands of years, citing similar geological formations in other regions and asserting that such shapes can arise without human intervention. Archaeologists, on the other hand, propose that the age of these monuments could range from 10 to 12,000 years, a time when they believe highly advanced civilizations capable of constructing such structures may have existed. Debates surrounding this topic continue, with both sides presenting arguments that initially appear logical and convincing. Among them are photographs and results of underwater research, but no theory has yet definitively proven its validity. These monuments attract not only scientists but also tourists, further fueling interest in their study. Consequently, Yonaguni Island has become a magnet for those seeking to unravel the mysteries of antiquity and understand what these underwater structures truly conceal. Doggerland, also known as the Atlantis of the North Sea, was a Mesolithic landmass that existed between Britain and continental Europe. This territory served as a land bridge connecting these two regions until around 6,500 years ago. Doggerland was not only a significant route for human and animal migration, but also a habitat for various species. Archaeological finds indicate that the area was inhabited by people who used tools such as stone knives and scrapers, which were discovered in fishing nets, suggesting a lifestyle involving fishing and hunting. Geological research and paleobotany allow us to reconstruct the landscape and climate of Doggerland. Scientists have found that during the Mesolithic period, this territory was covered in forests and water bodies, creating ideal living conditions. However, after the last glacial period, sea levels began to rise gradually, and Doggerland started to be submerged. This process of submersion became particularly active around 8,000 years ago, and eventually, most of the territory was underwater. The study of flora and fauna remains found on the bottom of the North Sea provides insights into the life that existed there before submersion. For example, the remains of mammoths, aurochs, and other animals that once inhabited this land confirm that Doggerland was teeming with life and diversity. Research also shows that the people who lived in this area utilized natural resources such as fish and wild flora, giving us a glimpse into their way of life and adaptation to their environment. The reconstruction of the climate conditions of that time reveals that the transition from a cold and wet climate to a warmer one led to changes in the ecosystem and population migration. Scientific research on Doggerland continues, and each new discovery adds details to the picture of this submerged land, which was once home to people, animals, and plants, leaving their mark on human history. Oceanic trenches and pits are mysterious formations on the ocean floor that suddenly plunge into great depths, giving the impression that the ocean hides its secrets from human eyes. These depressions can be either wide bowls or narrow chasms, with sizes ranging from several tens of meters to kilometers in diameter and depth. Scientists are amazed at how such formations are created and what physical processes are responsible for their formation. Some theories link them to tectonic activity, where underwater plates shift, leaving voids behind. Other researchers suggest that such trenches can form due to erosion of the ocean floor by strong currents or the activities of marine organisms, such as worms and mollusks, which burrow through the soil. The mystical aspect of these formations attracts not only scientists but also adventurers, as many believe they may hide lost treasures or even mysterious creatures. Trenches also become the subject of speculation and legends, where the ocean seems to conceal its secrets, preparing surprises for the brave who dare to explore its depths. Such mysterious places on the ocean floor fuel the spirit of exploration, inspiring the desire to unravel their secrets and leading to new expeditions and discoveries. Researchers often use submersibles and remotely operated drones to peer into these abysses, where light does not penetrate and conditions remain unpredictable. As a result, each new find in these trenches enriches our understanding of marine ecosystems and geological processes occurring on the planet. And it is in these depths that fragments of ancient ships and artifacts are often found, testifying to the fact that the ocean holds many secrets. A large blue hole located off the coast of Belize is a flooded karst sinkhole formed as a result of sea level changes that occurred around 20,000 years ago. The diameter of this sinkhole is 318 meters, and its depth reaches 124 meters, making it one of the deepest underwater caves in the world. The unique dark blue hue of the Great Blue Hole sharply contrasts with the turquoise waters of the surrounding coral reef, creating a mesmerizing visual effect. Inside the sinkhole, there is a stratification of water. The upper layers contain more oxygen, allowing various marine organisms such as fish and mollusks to thrive, while in the lower layers, oxygen levels are significantly lower, and there are species that can survive in more extreme conditions. This natural wonder not only attracts divers from all over the world, but is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, highlighting its ecological and cultural significance. Each year, numerous divers visit this site to explore its underwater depths and enjoy the unique ecosystem that has developed over millions of years. The Blue Hole of Dahab, located in the Red Sea off the coast of Egypt, is renowned for its ominous reputation as the killer hole, due to numerous diving fatalities. This underwater natural formation is a massive circular depression in a coral reef, with a depth exceeding 100 meters. The arched passage at depths between 50 and 55 meters presents a challenge even for experienced divers. Dangerous currents in this area can suddenly change direction, adding complexity for divers, especially when surfacing. It is crucial to note that diving in the Blue Hole requires the highest level of qualification and preparation, as the risk of nitrogen narcosis increases at great depths. This effect can cause confusion and even loss of consciousness, further increasing the likelihood of accidents. Many divers attempting to pass through the arched passage lose their bearings and misjudge their abilities, leading to tragic outcomes. The complex structure of the Blue Hole, with its deep sections and narrow passages, makes it perfect for those seeking to test their skills, yet it also poses a significant threat to life. At the bottom of the hole, one can find wreckage of sunken ships and personal belongings of deceased divers, enhancing its eerie atmosphere. The place attracts not only thrill seekers but also researchers who aim to understand why such beauty can be so dangerous. Yucatan's underwater caves, known as cenotes, represent a unique geological phenomenon that has become an integral part of Mayan culture. These natural formations resulted from the collapse of limestone vaults over underground rivers, leading to the creation of deep sinkholes and caves. The water in cenotes is crystal clear, making them attractive to both divers and researchers. The system of interconnected tunnels stretches over hundreds of kilometers, forming a complex network of underground water bodies where unique ecosystems can be found. Archaeological finds at the bottom of cenotes, such as sacrificial items and animal remains, indicate that these places held sacred significance for the ancient Maya. They believed cenotes to be a portal to the underworld, a place where one could communicate with gods and ancestors. In some cases, rituals involving sacrifices were conducted in these caves, highlighting the importance of cenotes in Mayan religious life. These places were not only sources of fresh water but also centers of cultural and spiritual life, making their study particularly interesting for historians and archaeologists. In one of the cenotes, researchers discovered over 100 ceramic vessels, indicating active use of these places for ritual purposes. The underwater cave system of S on the Yucatan Peninsula is the longest flooded cave system in the world, with a length exceeding 350 kilometers. These caves were formed through karst processes, where water eroded limestone, creating a complex network of tunnels and chambers. Inside, one can see unique stalactites and stalagmites that formed when the water level was significantly lower than it is now. Discoveries made in these caves include the remains of ancient animals and humans, dating back to 12,000 years. One of the most significant findings is the skeleton of Naya, a young woman from the Paleolithic era, found in one of the underwater chambers. This skeleton not only helps scientists understand the physical condition of people at that time, but also provides insights into how they interacted with their environment. The caves are also a crucial archaeological resource, as artifacts and everyday items have been discovered here, revealing the life and customs of ancient civilizations that inhabited the region. These caves are not only fascinating for researchers but also important for studying climate changes, as their geological structure preserves information about past climate conditions. Deep-sea research is an exciting field where science and engineering meet the harsh conditions of the ocean depths. Humanity has always sought to unravel the mysteries hidden beneath the waves, and unique technologies have been developed to overcome the immense pressure, cold, and darkness. These investigations require not only highly skilled specialists but also innovative solutions to ensure the safety and efficiency of dives. For instance, the creation of watertight structures and life support systems allows people to reach great depths where water temperatures can drop to just a few degrees above zero, and pressure can be hundreds of times greater than atmospheric. Engineers and scientists are working on materials that can withstand such conditions, as well as navigation and communication systems to maintain contact with the surface and transmit data in real time. These efforts open up new horizons for studying biodiversity, geology, and even human history, as ancient civilizations and natural disasters can be found on the ocean floor. In this context, deep-sea research is not just a technical challenge, but a true adventure that continues to inspire new explorers to discover uncharted territories. In such conditions, each new project is a step into the unknown, where the precision and reliability of technologies are crucial for success. However, exploring the ocean depths is not just a scientific task, but also a challenge to human nature, striving to understand our place in a world that often remains beyond our reach. Discoveries in this area can fundamentally change our perception of the planet, as ecosystems that have developed over millions of years, untouched by human influence, lie hidden in the ocean depths. The bathyscaphe Trieste became a landmark in the history of deep-sea research. In 1960, its pilots, Jacques Picard and Don Walsh, made a historic descent to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest point in the ocean. The vessel was equipped with a robust spherical capsule made of special steel capable of withstanding immense pressure, which at a depth of approximately 10,990 meters exceeds 8 tons per square centimeter. To maintain buoyancy, the design included a float filled with gasoline, ensuring the necessary lightness and stability at depth. The 9-hour descent began with surface checks, and throughout the descent, the crew faced various challenges, but the process was meticulously planned. When Trieste reached the bottom, Picard and Walsh were astonished by an unexpected encounter. They saw a flounder on the seafloor, marking a significant moment for the entire expedition. This discovery allowed scientists to better understand the ecosystems of the deep ocean and confirmed that life can exist even in the most extreme conditions. The expedition had a profound impact on the scientific community, opening new horizons for deep-sea research and demonstrating that human spirit strives to explore the most inaccessible corners of the planet. The Russian deep-sea vehicle Mira is a remarkable achievement in the field of underwater technology, designed for scientific research and deep-sea exploration. It is capable of descending to a maximum depth of 6,000 meters, enabling the exploration of the most remote areas of the world ocean. The vehicle is equipped with modern life support systems that ensure the crew's comfort during long-duration dives, including oxygen systems and filters for removing carbon dioxide. Mira is equipped with manipulators that can perform various operations at depth, such as collecting samples and installing scientific equipment. Among the scientific instruments on board are high-definition video cameras, hydrophones, and devices for collecting data on temperature and pressure. Mira gained fame for its expeditions to the sunken Titanic, where the crew conducted research on the wreck's condition and collected data on its destruction. The vehicle was also used to study hydrothermal vents, which are unique ecosystems thriving in high-temperature and high-pressure conditions. In addition to its scientific missions, Mira played a significant role in the filming of James Cameron's Titanic, providing unique footage and information about the sunken ship, which added realism to the film. These capabilities make Mira an indispensable tool for studying deep-sea ecosystems and historical artifacts, underscoring its importance in the contemporary scientific community. Modern deep-sea drones and autonomous underwater vehicles have significantly transformed the approach to ocean research. These devices not only eliminate the risk to researchers' lives but also can perform long missions without the need to return to the surface to swap crews. For instance, autonomous underwater vehicles like REMIS and AUV Autonomous Underwater Vehicle are small enough to navigate through narrow passages and explore hard-to-reach areas that manned vessels cannot access. The technical specifications of these vehicles are impressive. Many can dive to depths of up to 3,000 meters, while some models can even reach 6,000 meters. Navigation systems combine inertial navigation systems and GPS, enabling precise determination of the vehicle's position underwater. Power is supplied by batteries that can operate for several weeks, depending on the tasks and operating conditions. Data collection is done using various sensors, including sonars and video cameras, allowing for the acquisition of high-quality images and maps of the ocean floor. Communication with the surface is achieved through acoustic systems and radio signals, ensuring real-time information transfer. These drones actively participate in mapping the ocean floor, helping to identify geological structures and ecosystems that were previously inaccessible. For example, the use of deep-sea drones has led to the discovery of new underwater volcanoes and unique ecosystems, such as hydrothermal vents, which teem with life. The HUMANKInd project, initiated in 2017, is an ambitious endeavor aimed at exploring the depths of the Indian Ocean. The primary goal of the mission is to study the ecological conditions and biodiversity in this relatively unexplored region. The project participants utilize submersible vehicles and drones, enabling them to reach depths previously inaccessible to researchers. A significant achievement was the first-ever live broadcast from depths exceeding 200 meters, allowing a wide audience to witness the underwater world in real time. During these expeditions, scientists discovered new marine species, including previously unknown fish and invertebrates, confirming the high degree of biological diversity in the Indian Ocean. The seafloor map created as a result of these studies opens new horizons for understanding the geomorphology of the region and its ecosystems. In particular, previously unexplored areas around the Seychelles and Maldives were studied, revealing unique ecosystems and new geological formations. The HUMANKInd project not only expands our knowledge of the underwater world but also raises important questions about its preservation and the need to protect these ecosystems from human impact. Underwater archaeology is a relatively young but rapidly developing field that focuses on the study of submerged objects and cultural heritage on the ocean floor. Archaeologists and historians who venture into the depths of the sea face unique challenges: the pressure of water, low visibility, and the need to work in complex conditions require not only physical fitness, but also deep knowledge in various disciplines. They develop specialized methods and technologies to investigate shipwrecks, submerged cities, and other artifacts preserved in the aquatic environment. For instance, the use of diving suits and underwater drones allows for detailed inspections, while 3D scanning and photogrammetry help create accurate models of objects on the seabed. These tools enable not only the documentation of finds but also their analysis, revealing cultural and historical contexts. Underwater archaeology also demands that scientists understand marine ecosystems, as each object can impact the surrounding environment. Research often involves collaboration with ecologists to minimize the impact on marine flora and fauna. In this field, interdisciplinary work is crucial as archaeologists, historians, geographers, and biologists combine their efforts to gain a more comprehensive understanding of how submerged objects reflect the cultural and social aspects of human life in the past. In such conditions, research becomes not only a scientific endeavor but a true adventure, where each new discovery can unveil secrets that have been hidden for centuries. Underwater archaeology offers a unique perspective on history, allowing us to view the interaction between humans and nature through the lens of submerged civilizations. Methods of dating underwater archaeological finds play a crucial role in understanding the history of sunken objects and civilizations. One of the most common methods is radiocarbon dating, which allows for the determination of the age of organic materials such as wood or bone, up to approximately 30,000 years. This method is based on measuring the content of carbon-14 isotope, which decays over time. However, radiocarbon dating can be challenging in underwater archaeology due to contamination of samples, for example, from interaction with seawater. Therefore, it is essential to carefully select samples and conduct control tests. Dendrochronology is another method used for dating wooden parts of ships. This method is based on studying the annual rings of trees, which allows not only to determine the age of the wood, but also to establish the climatic conditions during its growth. The application of dendrochronology is complicated if the wood was underwater, as storage conditions can alter the structure of the rings. In addition, archaeologists often use ceramic and coin analysis to establish the temporal framework of finds. Ceramics can have distinctive features indicating specific cultural traditions and time periods, while coins often bear dates of minting or images of rulers, allowing for precise determination of their production time. However, maintaining a temporal scale underwater is fraught with numerous complexities, including corrosion, decomposition, and displacement of objects. To overcome distortions caused by the marine environment, archaeologists employ modern technologies such as three-dimensional scanning and computer modeling, which enable more accurate reconstruction of the context and relationships of finds. It is important to remember that each method has its limitations and requires a critical approach to the interpretation of data. Conservation technologies for artifacts recovered from the seabed involve a complex set of processes aimed at preserving historical objects for future generations. One common method for stabilizing wooden elements involves the use of polyethylene glycol. This polymer penetrates the wood structure and replaces water, helping to prevent deformation and decay. The process can take several months or even years, depending on the condition of the material. For example, the process for the Vasa ship, raised from the Baltic Sea, took over 20 years. Regarding metallic objects, electrolysis is employed. This method uses electrical current to remove corrosion from the metal surface. Artifacts are placed in a solution containing specific chemical compounds and then connected to a power source. The duration of this process can range from several days to several months, depending on the extent of corrosion. Ceramics and organic materials require a special approach. Ceramics are often treated with special resins that help restore their structure and prevent further damage. Organic materials, such as textiles or leather, also require an individual approach and may be treated with various preservatives to maintain their original shape and texture. All these methods require meticulous control and time, making the conservation of marine artifacts a complex and time-consuming task. Legal aspects of underwater archaeology are a significant topic that requires attention, especially given the growing threats to submerged cultural heritage. The UNESCO Convention on the Protection of the Underwater Cultural Heritage, adopted in 2001, has become the primary international document establishing rules for the protection of these objects. The convention stipulates that states have sovereign rights over submerged objects in their territorial waters, allowing them to regulate research and conservation of cultural values on the ocean floor. However, this also presents challenges when it comes to treasure hunters, who often disregard these legal norms in pursuit of easy profits. Commercial recovery of submerged objects is becoming increasingly common, and such activities can cause irreparable damage to cultural heritage. Ethical dilemmas arise when artifacts are raised that could have been better preserved in their original historical context. For instance, raising sunken ships without thorough contextual research can result in the loss of information about the lives of people who once used these objects. It is crucial to understand that each raised artifact is not just an object, but a part of a whole history that could be lost forever. Countries that have signed the convention are obligated to take measures to protect their underwater heritage and prevent its looting, but the actual situation with protection often falls short. For example, in some regions, such as the Caribbean Basin, protection of submerged objects is virtually non-existent, opening the door to illegal excavations. While some countries actively fight against this problem, others create conditions for commercial expansion on the ocean floor. Questions about balancing scientific interests and commercial interests remain open, and solving this problem requires international cooperation and coordination. Legislation related to underwater archaeology continues to evolve, and it is important to monitor how approaches to the protection of cultural heritage are changing in the modern world. One example of this is the creation of new laws in the United States to protect underwater heritage objects, which provide stricter control over underwater excavations and prevent their looting. Photogrammetry and three-dimensional modeling have become revolutionary tools in underwater archaeology, enabling the creation of highly detailed digital models of submerged objects based on thousands of photographs taken from various angles. The process begins with underwater photography, where archaeologists capture every detail of the object, whether it's a sunken ship or an ancient artifact. These photographs are then loaded into specialized software that analyzes the images and reconstructs a three-dimensional model, taking into account scale and proportions. The advantages of this technology are clear. First, it is non-invasive, allowing scientists to study objects without damaging them. Secondly, the accuracy of the models can reach several millimeters, enabling researchers to conduct detailed analysis and comparisons. Additionally, preserving the context of finds is crucial, as the models allow objects to be seen in relation to one another, which is essential for understanding historical events. Virtual museums using such models provide access to underwater discoveries for people around the world, without requiring them to dive or travel to the excavation sites. This opens up new horizons for education and the popularization of underwater archaeology, allowing a wide audience to immerse themselves in the study of ancient history. Moreover, the resulting models serve as a valuable resource for further scientific research, allowing specialists to analyze data without the need for repeated dives, thus saving time and resources. As a result, such technologies not only change the approach to studying underwater heritage, but also lay the foundation for future discoveries. Oceanic anomalies and unexplained phenomena are one of the most mysterious and intriguing topics in marine research. Scientific expeditions venturing into the depths of the ocean encounter numerous phenomena that challenge our understanding of physics and biology. For instance, there are areas where magnetic fields behave strangely, and sonar detects unusual structures on the seabed. These anomalies may be linked to geological processes, but many remain unexplained and spark numerous hypotheses. The ocean is not only home to countless species, but also a repository of secrets that could revolutionize our understanding of life on Earth. Scientists assert that the vast majority of the ocean remains unexplored, and with each new dive, we may uncover something entirely unique. The conditions in which organisms live at great depths are astonishing. Dark spaces, high pressure, and low temperatures create ecosystems far removed from the familiar world. Scientific theories about the origins of some deep-sea creatures sometimes resemble science fiction, and their study opens doors to unexplored realms of biology. Additionally, the ocean depths contain the remains of sunken ships, lost cities, and mysterious artifacts that could reveal information about long-lost civilizations. These discoveries raise questions about what else lies hidden beneath the waves and what mysteries await discovery. The scientific interest in these anomalies fuels debates not only among scientists but also among adventure enthusiasts, as each new expedition can lead to unexpected findings that challenge our knowledge of the world. Over time, it becomes increasingly clear that the ocean is not just a water mass, but a whole world full of mysteries that are only beginning to be revealed. In such conditions, the search for answers to questions related to oceanic anomalies becomes a true challenge, requiring courage and a readiness to explore the unknown. In the 21st century, scientists and ocean researchers have become familiar with bloop, ultra-low-frequency sounds recorded by NOAA hydrophones in 1997. These sounds possess extraordinary power, exceeding the volume of a blue whale's call by 1,000 times, sparking interest and questions about their origin. The geographic origin of bloop is linked to a specific area in the southeastern part of the Pacific Ocean, where their source was detected at a depth of around 3,000 meters. The periodic nature of these sounds is also remarkable. They were heard at intervals of several minutes over extended periods, making their study even more intriguing. Scientists propose various theories about their origin. One popular hypothesis suggests that they are sounds made by unknown marine animals capable of producing such powerful sounds, although no known creature can explain them. Another theory connects bloop with ice processes, such as cracks in Arctic ice, which could generate low-frequency sounds. However, a version that bloop might be related to seismic activity, such as the movement of tectonic plates or underwater volcanic eruptions, is also intriguing. Research continues, and so far, no definitive answer has been given to the question of what these mysterious sounds actually are, which, ironically, remain one of the most intriguing testimonies to our unknown marine environment. The phenomenon known as Milky Sea is a mysterious glow that covers vast areas of the ocean, observed by sailors over centuries. Witnesses describe a milky white glow on the ocean surface that can span hundreds of square kilometers. There are numerous records from sailors who have encountered this enigmatic sight, noting that the glow sometimes appears as if the water surface is covered in a layer of milk or white light. The scientific explanation for this phenomenon is bioluminescence, the ability of certain microorganisms, such as bacteria and plankton, to emit light through chemical reactions. These organisms are activated under specific conditions, typically in warm water and in the presence of nutrients, making the glow more noticeable. For instance, during phytoplankton blooms, when the concentration of these organisms in the water significantly increases, a bright glow can be observed. Recent satellite observations of this phenomenon have allowed scientists to document it on a large scale and analyze the conditions under which it occurs. Satellites using various spectral methods can precisely identify areas where this glow happens, opening new avenues for studying oceanic ecosystems. It is important to note that Milky Sea is not a constant phenomenon and depends on numerous factors, including water temperature, the presence of nutrients, and even pollution levels. For example, in some cases, the glow can be more intense in areas affected by agricultural runoff, raising questions about the impact of human activity on natural processes. During the Cold War, submarines detected mysterious objects known as quakers. These objects emitted signals with distinctive frequencies and high speeds of movement, reaching up to 200 knots. One of the unique characteristics of the quakers was their ability to suddenly change direction, which cast doubt on their natural origin. The depth at which they were detected varied, but in most cases, this occurred at significant depths, further complicating their identification. The secrecy surrounding these objects led to numerous theories. Some researchers suggested they were unknown marine animals capable of maneuvering at incredible speeds. Others proposed equipment malfunctions, and others speculated about unidentified submersible objects possibly related to military experiments. These enigmatic signals sparked great interest among the naval forces, which sought to understand their nature and origin, raising questions about security and potential threats in the waters during periods of international tension. The phenomenon of the quakers remains one of the most intriguing and unexplained aspects of submarine history, and there is still no consensus on what they represent. Scientific research and analytical reports on the quakers continue to appear, confirming that the mystery of these underwater objects remains unsolved. Red tides are characterized by the mass reproduction of toxic algae that turn ocean waters a vibrant red color, and this phenomenon has significant biological and ecological consequences. The primary culprits behind this phenomenon are dinoflagellates, single-celled organisms that, under certain conditions, can release toxins. Their activity requires high water temperatures, abundant nutrients, and calm sea conditions. These conditions often arise due to the runoff of fertilizers from agricultural lands, leading to eutrophication, a process where there is excessive growth of algae. Red tides can negatively impact marine ecosystems, as the toxins released by the algae cause mass mortality of marine organisms, including fish and marine mammals. For example, marine mammals such as dolphins and seals can suffer from poisoning, leading to a decrease in their populations and disruption of the ecosystem balance. Economic impacts are also substantial. Fishing may suffer losses due to the closure of fishing areas, which in turn affects local economies and tourism, as beaches may become unsafe for swimming. The frequency of red tides is increasing due to climate change and ocean pollution, which is a cause for concern among scientists and ecologists. In some regions of the world, such as the eastern coast of the United States and the Mediterranean coast, there is a sharp increase in the number of red tide incidents, underscoring the need for monitoring and research of this phenomenon. Scientists continue to study ways to predict these events and their impact on the environment. In particular, research has been conducted to understand the interaction between climate change and biological processes leading to red tides. The ocean has always been and remains a powerful force that affects human consciousness. Its boundless expanses and mysterious depths evoke both fear and attraction in us. The sounds of waves, the rustling of sand, and the fresh sea air can awaken a wide range of emotions in our souls. This force, like an unknown power, makes us ponder eternity and our place in the world. The ocean can be both calming and unsettling. Its tranquil waters often deceive, hiding dangers that can suddenly emerge in a storm. A person standing on the shore feels not only the physical presence of the ocean, but also its influence on their inner world. Water, like a mirror, reflects our emotions, and each of us perceives this image in our own way. On one hand, the ocean opens up infinite horizons, drawing us to itself, but on the other, it reminds us of our vulnerability to its power. This dual nature of the ocean makes us feel both part of something great and something alien. We can admire its beauty, but also recognize that it can cause destruction. This complex interplay of sensations makes the ocean not just a physical object, but also a symbol of the inner struggle of humanity. Many myths and legends connected to the sea confirm this idea. For example, the ancient Greeks revered Poseidon, the god of the sea, who could both grant calm and bring storms. The mythology of various cultures is rich in images of sea creatures that embody different aspects of human nature. This underscores that the ocean is constantly interacting with humanity, influencing its culture, art, and even philosophy. Many artists and writers have drawn inspiration from marine landscapes, trying to capture that unknowable connection between humans and the ocean, which has always been at the center of attention. For instance, many painters, such as Claude Monet or Yves Klein, used marine motifs to express their feelings and experiences. It is no wonder that the ocean has become a symbol not only of physical, but also of spiritual journeying. It embodies the search for meaning in life and the human place in this vast world. Over time, we continue to explore the depths of the sea, which underscores our unchanging attraction to this powerful element. Although the ocean can suddenly remind us of its strength, it also remains a source of inspiration and tranquility for millions of people around the world. Scientists continue to study the ocean's influence on human psychology, noting that even its simple presence in our lives can have a significant impact on our perception of reality. Thalassophilia, or love for the sea and ocean, is an intriguing psychological phenomenon with roots in human evolution. Research indicates that our connection to water dates back to ancient times when our ancestors lived in coastal areas. The hypothesis of the aquatic ape suggests that life near bodies of water played a crucial role in the development of many human qualities, such as agility and sociability. The neurochemical processes that occur in the brain when contemplating the surface of water are also of interest. Studies show that being near water promotes the production of serotonin and dopamine, which improve mood and reduce stress levels. Psychological research confirms the therapeutic effect of marine landscapes and the sounds of waves. For instance, patients with anxiety disorders report significant improvement after spending time by the shore. This is supported by experiments where participants experienced reduced anxiety and depression after watching videos of marine landscapes. In culture, thalassophilia is reflected in art and literature. Artists often depict the sea as a symbol of freedom and infinity, while poets celebrate it as a source of inspiration and tranquility. In works by authors such as Kipling and Hemingway, the sea becomes more than just a backdrop. It is a significant character that influences the fates of the heroes. Research shows that simply being on the beach can evoke feelings of happiness and tranquility, which is confirmed by numerous surveys and studies on the impact of nature on human well-being. In this context, thalassophilia is not just a personal preference, but a universal human trait that unites people worldwide in their desire for nature and its boundless beauty. Thalassophobia is an irrational fear of the ocean and deep waters, which can manifest in people in various ways, from mild discomfort to panic attacks. The psychological mechanisms that shape this phobia often stem from the instinct of self-preservation, as our ancestors developed fear as a protective mechanism when facing dangers from bodies of water. Evolutionarily, this fear was meaningful. Deep waters can conceal predators and unpredictable dangers, making them potentially threatening. People with thalassophobia may experience different reactions, from anxiety at the sight of the sea to severe panic when they are in water or even on the beach. This fear is often reflected in popular media, such as the film Jaws, where the shark becomes a symbol of sudden and inexplicable danger from the depths. Modern horror films also use this motif, emphasizing the fear of the unknown that lurks beneath the surface. Treatments for thalassophobia include cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure therapy, and even medication, helping people manage their fears. For instance, in exposure therapy, the patient is gradually introduced to the object of fear, starting with images of water and ending with real immersion in water under the supervision of a specialist. Thus, thalassophobia not only touches on individual fears but also becomes a cultural phenomenon that finds expression in art and popular culture. Call of the abyss is a psychological phenomenon that occurs in people standing at the edge of a cliff or near a body of water, manifesting as a fleeting desire to jump. This paradoxical impulse is explained by neuropsychological mechanisms associated with high levels of anxiety and stress. When a person finds themselves at the edge, their brain activates centers responsible for fear and risk, but also an unconscious desire to test their limits. This phenomenon is not limited to people with psychiatric disorders, but also affects mentally healthy individuals, making it quite common. Research shows that such thoughts often arise in states of high functional anxiety, when a person tries to understand their vulnerability and boundaries. In maritime literature, from Herman Melville's works to those of Joseph Conrad, Call of the Abyss is depicted as a metaphor for the internal struggle of a person with their own fears and desires. Melville in Moby Dick describes the sea as a symbol of the unknown and dangerous, while Conrad in his maritime tales emphasizes that the ocean evokes both awe and fear. Studies also indicate that during moments of stress or intense emotional pressure, people tend to experience such impulses. The brain activates areas related to decision-making, and at such moments, a person may feel an irresistible urge to act against their instinct of self-preservation. This phenomenon is also linked to the concept of internal conflict, where the rational part of the personality struggles with impulsive desires. Ultimately, Call of the Abyss becomes more than just a random impulse, reflecting the deep human instincts and fears. Some research notes that people with high levels of creativity and emotional sensitivity experience this phenomenon more frequently, highlighting the connection between internal experiences and the perception of the surrounding world. This phenomenon is also analyzed in the context of philosophical reflections on the meaning of life and the limits of human experience, making it a significant object of study in psychology and literature, where the boundary between life and death becomes a field for contemplation of the essence of human existence. As a result, Call of the Abyss opens doors to understanding the nature of human beings and their contradictions. Research shows that in certain situations, this phenomenon can lead to deep reflections on life and death, reflecting the complex nature of human existence. The psychological phenomenon of seasickness of the mind is a unique state of perception that sailors encounter after prolonged periods at sea. This condition is linked to sensory adaptation to the constant motion of the ship, as the body becomes accustomed to the rocking and waves, leading to a change in the perception of the surrounding world. Sailors develop a special psychology where familiar visual and auditory cues on land begin to be perceived differently. For instance, many sailors report difficulty adapting to a static world without the usual motion after long voyages. Historical accounts of this state can be found in sailors' journals, where they describe their experiences, likening land to an immovable prison. Modern neuropsychological research confirms that prolonged time at sea alters the functioning of the vestibular system, which in turn affects cognitive functions and emotional state. Scientists have discovered that sailors exhibit changes in serotonin and dopamine levels, which may explain their sometimes peculiar behavior upon returning to land. For example, some may experience feelings of anxiety or even depression when confronted with their usual life. These changes not only influence individual reactions, but also shape the overall culture of the maritime brotherhood, which includes specific rituals and traditions to help cope with the consequences of prolonged sea life. Research shows that maritime life alters the perception of time and space, even in social interactions with others. For example, sailors may struggle to communicate with those unfamiliar with maritime life, leading to feelings of isolation. Ultimately, this phenomenon of seasickness of the mind remains relevant and requires further study to understand its impact on the lives and psyches of those whose fate is inextricably linked to the sea. Scientific research continues to uncover its peculiarities, emphasizing the importance of understanding this state for improving the living conditions and psychological health of sailors. The ocean in world mythology serves as a universal symbol that defies single interpretation. In various traditions, the sea is associated with the source of life, It provides food, transportation, and even inspiration for creativity. Yet, it also embodies chaos and unpredictability, as its calm surface can suddenly turn into a storm that destroys everything in its path. The ocean acts as a boundary between worlds, separating the known from the unknown, the material from the spiritual. In this realm, supernatural beings dwell, representing both protection and danger to humans. Myths about sea monsters and divine entities guarding the ocean's depths emphasize its mystery and power. This dual nature of the ocean makes it not only a vital component of ecosystems, but also a powerful symbol that inspires the creation of stories, legends, and beliefs. For centuries, sailors and travelers have turned to this image in their quest to understand their place in the world and to establish a connection with the surrounding world. Each reef and wave could tell its own story, reminding us that the ocean is not just a water element, but a whole world filled with mysteries and riddles. Mythology reflects this diversity, where the ocean becomes not only a place of trials but also a symbol of endless possibilities and unexplored horizons. Poseidon, also known as Neptune in Roman mythology, is one of the most influential gods in the pantheon of ancient Greek mythology. His main attributes include the trident, which symbolizes his power over the ocean and seas, and a chariot drawn by hippocamps, mythical seahorses, emphasizing his connection to the water element. Poseidon's character is often described as tempestuous and unpredictable, reflecting the tumultuous nature of the oceans. He could either bestow calm on sailors or send storms and hurricanes in a fit of anger. In myths, he frequently clashes with other gods, particularly with Zeus, with whom he shares power over the world. For example, in the Trojan War myth, he supported the Greeks, but his relations with Athena and Apollo were more complex. The cult of Poseidon was widespread in the ancient Greek world, with him being venerated in sanctuaries such as the temple in Corinth and on Delos, where rituals were held in his honor. Over time, the image of Poseidon evolved and became a symbol not only of the seas but also of the power of nature as a whole, as seen in European culture. During the Renaissance, for instance, artists like Michelangelo and Rubens depicted him as a majestic and powerful god, reflecting the changing perception of the beauty and power of nature. Frescoes and sculptures of Neptune became popular on European squares and in gardens, where he represented not only the force of the element but also the harmony between humans and nature. Thus, the figure of Poseidon continues to influence art and literature, leaving its mark in myths and legends that recount his power and character. In ancient texts, many of his deeds are described, such as the creation of the first horses and his battles with other deities for control of the seas, making him one of the most multifaceted figures in mythology. The Japanese sea deity Ryujin, also known as Watatsumi, is a powerful dragon figure that rules over an underwater palace, often depicted as a magnificent underwater fortress surrounded by wondrous sea creatures. According to legends, Ryujin possesses a precious pearl, known as Shinko, which controls the tides, making him a crucial figure in the lives of sailors and fishermen. This pearl is believed to be a source of power and wealth, and many believe it brings good fortune on maritime journeys. The mythology of Ryujin also includes stories about his daughters, such as Otoheim, who are considered protectors of the sea and frequently appear in folktales. The husbands of Ryujin's daughters, often depicted as heroes, receive blessings from the deity and embark on dangerous sea voyages. Among fishermen, rituals of worshipping Ryujin include special ceremonies performed before setting sail, where they pray for a safe catch and protection from storms. In Japanese art and literature, Ryujin holds a significant place. He is depicted in paintings, sculptures, and theater, where his image is associated with the power and majesty of nature. There are numerous famous works where Ryujin is portrayed as a protector of the seas, safeguarding people from ocean dangers. In some myths, he is even said to have created islands that rose from the sea depths due to his magic. Special festivals dedicated to Ryujin are held, where sailors and coastal residents gather to celebrate his power and seek his blessing. These traditions are passed down from generation to generation, demonstrating the profound influence Ryujin has on Japanese culture and life. Ryujin is not just a deity but also a symbol of the ocean depths, embodying the connection between people and water and nature. Tangaroa is a Polynesian god of the ocean who holds a central place in the cosmogonic myths of various islands in the Pacific Ocean. In the creation myths, Tangaroa often appears as one of the first deities, alongside other significant figures like Tane, the god of forests. It is interesting to note that the versions of his origin vary across different islands. For instance, on the Hawaiian Islands, he is considered the son of the sky god Ringi and the earth goddess Papa, while on islands like Samoa, he is depicted as a god who created the ocean and all its inhabitants himself. Legends of the conflict between Tangaroa and Tane tell of how Tangaroa, seeking to assert his power over the sea, confronted Tane, who was trying to protect the forest and animals. This conflict symbolizes the struggle between sea and land, which holds deep significance for understanding Polynesian perceptions of nature. Tangaroa is closely associated with fishing and navigation, making him particularly important to coastal communities that depend on marine resources. Important rituals and taboos related to his worship include prohibitions on catching certain types of fish at specific times of the year to avoid angering the god, and special ceremonies held in celebration of successful fishing trips. These rituals help maintain the balance between humans and nature, which is a fundamental principle of Polynesian culture. In various Polynesian cultures, Tangaroa not only represents the ocean but also the knowledge associated with navigation, such as navigating by stars. Therefore, Tangaroa is not just a deity, but an essential element of Polynesian identity and culture. In the myths, it is also mentioned that he created coral reefs, providing shelter for marine creatures, which underscores his role as a protector of the marine ecosystem. Among the Scandinavian myths, a special place is held by the sea giant Aegir, who rules an underwater palace surrounded by waves and coral reefs. Aegir and his wife Ran are symbols of the dual nature of the sea, generous yet deadly. In their palace, feasts are held, to which the gods are invited. Remarkably, these feasts use self-luminous golden objects that imbue the atmosphere with magic and mystery. Ran is also known for her 9 daughters, who represent the waves. Each daughter has a unique name and character, emphasizing the diversity of marine phenomena. Ran is not only the mother of the waves but also a rescuer of the drowning. She uses her net to capture sailors who have lost their lives in the stormy waters. This makes her a symbol of both protection and threat. Aegir and Ran embody important aspects of life and death at sea, highlighting that their beauty and danger are intertwined. They reflect human fears and hopes associated with the sea. The myths of Aegir and Ran contain deep meanings related to how people perceive the power of nature. The existence of such deities as Aegir and Ran helps us understand how the Scandinavian peoples viewed the sea as a source of life and death. Ran, for instance, is often depicted with a net, which becomes a symbol not only of capture but also of the uncertainties that can occur at sea. These images underscore the importance for ancient Scandinavians to recognize and respect nature. The myths of Aegir and Ran have numerous interpretations and continue to inspire contemporary research on the role of the sea in human life. The ocean has always been a powerful, universal symbol in literature and art, serving as a source of inspiration for creators across different epochs and cultures. It embodies vast expanses and mysterious depths, evoking both fear and admiration in humans. The sea is often depicted as a force that can both destroy and create, reflecting human emotions and inner experiences. This image of the ocean is frequently associated with journeys into the unknown, self-discovery, and a yearning for freedom, resonating with writers and artists who strive to express the complexity of human nature. Visual images of the sea, its waves, and storms become metaphors for life's storms and tranquilities, while the melodies of the ocean inspire composers to create works that convey the beauty and danger of these waters. In cinema, the ocean serves as a backdrop for dramatic narratives, where its grandeur and unpredictability underscore important moments in the lives of characters. This symbol permeates all art, acting as a link between humans and nature, and reflecting cultural, philosophical, and emotional aspects of life. Each artist, writer, or composer, when turning to this image, contributes their own interpretation, thereby creating a multifaceted and rich portrait of the sea as something more than just a water element. The sea becomes a living entity with its own will and character, capable of evoking a wide range of human feelings, from serenity to anxiety. In this context, the ocean is not merely a background decoration but an active participant in events, capable of altering the course of history and the fates of people. The multifaceted nature of the ocean's image opens new horizons for analysis and interpretation, allowing each generation to find in it something unique, relevant, and significant. The theme of the ocean as a symbol continues to evolve, finding expression in contemporary artworks, where artists and writers explore its new aspects and meanings. The novel Moby Dick by Herman Melville has become a classic work that deeply explores the relationship between humans and the sea. At the heart of the story is Captain Ahab, obsessed with the idea of avenging the white whale that once bit off his leg. This whale, symbolizing the boundless forces of nature and the unknown depths of the human soul, becomes not only the target of the hunt but also a reflection of Ahab's internal struggle. His obsession can be seen as a metaphor for humanity's relentless drive towards self-destruction, where individuals are willing to sacrifice everything to satisfy their thirst for revenge. In Moby Dick, Melville employs an encyclopedic approach, immersing the reader in the world of whaling, detailing the hunting techniques, biology of whales, and the peculiarities of the sea, creating a sense of deep connection with nature and its laws. This approach demonstrates that the sea is not merely a backdrop for events, but a living entity filled with dangers and mysteries. Philosophical musings on the nature of humanity in the face of the elements permeate the text, prompting reflection on humanity's place in the world, its struggle with fate, and how petty ambitions can collide with the immense power of nature. The influence of Moby Dick on literature and culture is immense. The novel has been the basis for numerous interpretations and adaptations, inspiring filmmakers, artists, and writers to create new works that continue to explore themes of obsession, struggle, and human nature. For example, many contemporary authors reference Melville, using the image of the white whale as a symbol of something unattainable and threatening. The novel's structure, with its shifts between genres and styles, from tragedy to scientific treatise, has also had an impact on the development of literature, opening new horizons for experimentation with form and content. Moby Dick remains relevant, raising questions about human essence, how we respond to life's challenges, and what it means to be human in a world where the elements are uncontrollable. In Moby Dick, Melville created not just a literary work, but an entire mythology that continues to stir the minds and hearts of readers worldwide. William Turner, one of the most outstanding artists of the 19th century, is renowned for his breathtaking marine paintings that revolutionized the perception of painting and nature. His works, such as Rain, Steam and Speed, and Sunlight on the Sea, demonstrate a revolutionary approach to depicting the sea, where Turner blurs the boundaries between realism and abstraction. He employs vibrant, almost fluid brushstrokes to convey the movement of water and clouds, creating a sense of dynamism and emotional tension. His unique technique of capturing light and atmospheric phenomena allows the viewer to feel the power and unpredictability of the sea. For instance, in the painting The Shipwreck, Turner does not merely depict a ship, but captures the essence of the catastrophe, using sharp contrasts and bright colors to emphasize the drama of the moment when nature asserts its might. In his works, marine battles such as the Battle of Trafalgar become not just historical records, but deep philosophical meditations on the human struggle against nature. Turner also anticipated Impressionism, introducing innovations in painting technique that later inspired masters like Claude Monet and Edgar Degas. His use of light, color, and texture had a significant impact on the development of marine painting, showing that the sea is not just a subject to be depicted, but a whole world of emotions and impressions that can be expressed through art. Turner became not just a chronicler of his time, but a creator of a new vision, where each canvas evokes a sense of immediate presence at the boundary between sky and water. Claude Debussy's symphonic suite, The Sea, composed in 1905, is a remarkable example of impressionistic music that conveys the atmosphere and images of the sea through innovative musical techniques. The suite consists of 3 parts, From Dawn to Noon on the Sea, The Play of the Waves, and dialogue between the wind and the sea. In the first part, Debussy employs complex harmonies and orchestral textures to create a sense of nature's slow awakening, where the sounds of flutes and string instruments evoke the first rays of sunlight touching the water's surface. The second part, The Play of the Waves, is characterized by its dynamism and rhythmic variety, with waves seemingly dancing, represented by ostinatos and rhythmic accents, creating the illusion of their endless motion. The concluding part, Dialogue Between the Wind and the Sea is the most dramatic and emotional, where Debussy masterfully portrays the conflict and interaction of these two natural forces through contrasting melodies and abrupt dynamic changes, making the listener a witness to this dialogue. In creating The Sea, the composer was inspired by his own experiences, spending much time on the French coast, which allowed him to recreate sound images that deeply resonate with nature. This work had a significant impact on 20th century music, inspiring composers such as Molière and Stravinsky to use similar impressionistic techniques in their own compositions. The sea became a symbol of a new musical era, where soundscapes and atmospheric effects became an integral part of the composer's language. The ocean in Japanese ukiyo-e prints is a powerful and expressive element, especially in the works of masters such as Katsushika Hokusai and Yutagawa Hiroshige. In his series 36 Views of Mount Fuji, Hokusai depicted the sea as a majestic and unpredictable phenomenon, most notably in the famous print, The Great Wave off Kanagawa. Here, Hokusai uses vivid blue hues to convey the power and dynamism of the water, creating a sense of movement and tension. Notably, the wave is depicted at the moment it is about to crash onto the boats, symbolizing not only the physical threat, but also the grandeur of nature as a whole. Following this, Yutagawa Hiroshige often turned to the sea in his works, showcasing its tranquil and soothing aspects. In prints like Moonlight in Tokyo Bay, the sea serves as a backdrop for human life, emphasizing the harmony between man and nature. The technical techniques employed by these masters, including complex layers of color and texture, allow for the creation of depth and volume in the water, as well as reflections of light, which was innovative for their time. The marine theme in ukiyo-e holds deep symbolic significance, associating it with the transience of life, the cycle of birth and death, and harmony and tranquility. These works had a significant impact on European art, particularly in the 19th century, when artists such as Vincent van Gogh and Claude Monet were inspired by Japanese prints, adopting their color schemes and compositional techniques. In contemporary visual art, elements of Japanese aesthetics continue to resonate, highlighting the universality of themes related to nature and human experiences. In this context, the works of Hokusai and Hiroshige not only reflect the culture of their time but also continue to shape our perception of art and nature. In Hokusai's prints, the sea is not just a backdrop but a full-fledged hero that evokes a sense of awe at its power and beauty. The ocean in contemporary science is viewed as the last great frontier of Earth, possessing incredible mysteries and resources that are not yet fully revealed. Its boundless expanses occupy more than 70% of the planet's surface, and it plays a crucial role in regulating climate, maintaining the biosphere, and sustaining life on Earth. However, the ocean is not just a vast body of water. It is a complex ecosystem teeming with interactions and interdependencies. In recent decades, scientists have come to the conclusion that studying the ocean requires a multidisciplinary approach, combining oceanography, biology, climatology, geology, and even artificial intelligence technologies. Modern technologies such as underwater drones and satellite observation systems allow us to peer into depths previously inaccessible to human feet. These innovations open new horizons in understanding ocean currents, ecosystems, and their impact on global warming. At the same time, the ocean faces numerous global challenges, such as pollution, climate change, and resource depletion, which require scientists not only to study, but also to actively seek solutions. Every square meter of the ocean is teeming with life, and its inhabitants, from microscopic plankton to giant whales, play a vital role in maintaining the planet's balance. The ocean is not just a source of food and resources, it also holds millions of years of Earth's history, making its study not only relevant, but also extremely necessary in a rapidly changing world. This boundless water element continues to be a subject of endless curiosity and admiration, as each new fact about it adds a stroke to our understanding of our planet and our place in it. The depths of the ocean hide not only biological and chemical enigmas, but also potential resources that could change our understanding of the future. The ARGEO project is a global network of autonomous floating buoys designed for monitoring the world ocean. These buoys operate on a cyclic submersion principle, reaching depths of up to 2,000 meters. They collect data on temperature, salinity, current speeds, and other parameters of the oceanic environment and then transmit this information via satellites. Currently, the project operates around 4,000 buoys, ensuring extensive coverage of ocean waters. The data obtained from these buoys play a crucial role in understanding climate change, as they help track changes in ocean temperature and circulation. Due to the open access to the collected data, scientists worldwide can utilize these findings for their research, contributing to a deeper understanding of the processes occurring in the ocean. For instance, an ARGO buoy can detect how warming affects specific ocean regions, and this, in turn, can reveal how climate changes impact global ecosystems. The use of such technologies, like the ARGO project, not only enables the collection of vital data but also helps in creating scientific models that predict the future state of oceans and their impact on global climate conditions. Since the project's inception in 2001, ARGO has become an integral part of the global ocean observation system, transforming our understanding of the dynamics of marine ecosystems. The Seabed 2030 project was launched with an ambitious goal of fully mapping the ocean floor by 2030. As of 2022, approximately 20% of the work has been completed, highlighting the scale and complexity of this endeavor. The primary technology used in the project is multi-beam echo sounding, which enables the creation of highly accurate maps of the ocean floor. This technology employs multiple sound beams that are sent to the seafloor and return, allowing researchers to identify details of the ocean floor's topography and structure. The Seabed 2030 project involves international cooperation, with various countries and research institutions participating, underscoring its global nature. A significant aspect is the involvement of commercial vessels and yachts that collect data during their voyages, significantly increasing the volume of information available for mapping. This initiative is not only crucial for navigation and laying underwater cables, but also for understanding geological processes such as plate tectonics and protecting marine ecosystems, which is becoming increasingly important in the face of climate change. It is worth noting that accurate maps of the ocean floor can aid in the discovery of resources such as minerals and energy deposits, which can significantly impact the economic development of countries. Modern research into deep-sea ecosystems around hydrothermal vents has revealed unique oases of life that were discovered in 1977 in the mid-oceanic ridges. These ecosystems differ from the familiar ones because their biology is based on chemosynthesis, not photosynthesis, meaning that the organisms living in these conditions use chemical reactions to obtain energy instead of sunlight. In hydrothermal vents, extremophile organisms such as bacteria and archaea have been found, which have adapted to high temperatures, sometimes reaching up to 300 degrees Celsius, and toxic substances like hydrogen sulfide. These organisms play a crucial role in the ecosystem as they are the primary producers of energy and food for other organisms like worms, mollusks, and crustaceans that inhabit these extreme conditions. The study of these unique ecosystems is of great importance for understanding the origin of life on Earth, as they demonstrate that life can exist in conditions previously thought to be inhospitable. Furthermore, the study of hydrothermal vents raises questions about the possibility of life on other planets, such as Europa, a moon of Jupiter, where similar chemosynthetic ecosystems might exist beneath the icy crust. In this context, hydrothermal vents not only expand our knowledge of biodiversity on Earth but also open new horizons in the search for extraterrestrial life. Recent expeditions using underwater robots and autonomous submersibles continue to uncover new species and communities that were previously unnoticed. The research shows that even in the most inhospitable conditions, a complex network of life can exist. Ocean acidification is a serious ecological problem caused by the absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. When carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, it reacts with water to form carbonic acid, which leads to a decrease in the pH of the water. This change in the chemical composition of water significantly affects marine organisms, especially those with calcium shells or skeletons, such as mollusks and corals. For example, corals that build reefs depend on calcium for their structure. With ocean acidification, calcium becomes less available, which slows down coral growth and reduces their ability to recover. This, in turn, threatens coral reef ecosystems, which are home to numerous marine species and play a crucial role in maintaining food chains. It is also important to note that ocean acidification affects plankton, which is the primary link in the ocean's food chain. Scientists use various monitoring methods, including water sample analysis and computer modeling, to track changes in pH and their impacts on marine ecosystems. Additionally, there are predictions that if the level of carbon dioxide continues to rise, by the end of the century, the pH of the oceans may decrease by 0.8 of a unit, leading to catastrophic consequences for marine life and human well-being. Research shows that such changes could cause mass coral die-offs and exacerbate existing climate change-related problems. The future of oceanography and marine research looks promising as scientists worldwide are beginning to understand that new approaches are needed to unravel the deep mysteries of the ocean. Interdisciplinary research is expected to form the basis for a comprehensive understanding of marine ecosystems, where biologists, physicists, chemists, and even sociologists will collaborate to explore all aspects of underwater life. The importance of global cooperation cannot be overstated. Countries with access to oceans must work together to share data and resources, leading to more effective solutions. This approach is expected to not only deepen our understanding of ecosystems, but also develop strategies for preserving biodiversity and sustainable management of marine resources. Current issues such as ocean pollution, temperature changes, and their impact on marine fauna require a holistic approach that considers not only scientific but also social aspects. This means that future research will focus not only on identifying problems, but also on finding practical solutions that can be applied in everyday life. The role of big data and analytics will also be crucial in this process. With new methods of information analysis, researchers will be able to predict changes in marine ecosystems and better understand how they can adapt to rapidly changing conditions. The future of oceanographic research promises to be not only a scientific but also a technological breakthrough, opening new horizons for understanding and preserving our oceans. It is expected that this will usher in a new era where every step is based on factual data and scientific conclusions, rather than intuition or assumptions. In such conditions, ocean study acquires new significance, becoming a vital tool for addressing global human challenges. It is expected that this will lead to the creation of more resilient ecosystems capable of withstanding the challenges the planet faces. Within this new approach, more detailed study of marine organisms, their behavior, and adaptation to environmental changes will be possible. Additionally, the impact of human activities on oceans, including fishing, tourism, and pollution, will be investigated, allowing for the development of more effective methods of protecting marine environments. Research will focus on creating comprehensive models that consider both biological and physical processes occurring in oceans. The scientific community expects these changes to lead to a deeper understanding of how oceans function as a unified system and how this affects the climate and terrestrial ecosystems. It is expected that this new era of oceanology will not only expand the horizons of scientific knowledge, but also provide practical recommendations for policymakers and the public. In this context, education and awareness will receive increasing attention to ensure public knowledge and involvement in marine environmental protection issues. Considering all these aspects, it can be expected that in the next decades, oceanology will become one of the most relevant and dynamically developing fields of science. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are opening new horizons in oceanography, enabling researchers to efficiently process vast amounts of data collected by various sensors. Modern technologies can analyze data on water temperature, salinity, oxygen levels, and other parameters in real time, significantly accelerating decision-making processes. For instance, machine learning algorithms can identify marine animal species from images and sounds, helping scientists monitor ecosystem health and track rare species. Specifically, the use of neural networks for analyzing sound recordings can identify whales and dolphins, contributing to a better understanding of their migration patterns and behavior. Moreover, artificial intelligence is actively used to model oceanic processes, allowing predictions of current changes and their impact on climate. For example, simulations based on surface ocean temperature data can forecast the likelihood of hurricanes and other extreme weather events. This is crucial not only for scientists, but also for coastal residents who can prepare for natural disasters in advance. Automation of the management of research submersibles is also a significant area. With artificial intelligence technologies, Autonomous underwater vehicles can be programmed to perform complex tasks such as sampling, mapping the seafloor, or monitoring the condition of coral reefs. These vehicles can operate in inaccessible areas where human presence is impossible, providing data that was previously unattainable. For example, such technologies enable research in deep-sea zones where pressure and temperature can be critical for human life. All these achievements underscore how artificial intelligence and machine learning can transform oceanology, providing new tools for studying and preserving marine environments. In 2021, a project was launched to create a network of autonomous underwater drones that collected real-time data on ocean conditions, marking a significant step towards more accurate ecosystem monitoring. The concept of the digital twin of the ocean is a complex computer model that simulates all oceanic processes, from currents to ecosystem interactions. Within the European project Destination Earth, this model integrates data from various sources, including satellite observations, buoys, and underwater sensors. This enables the creation of highly accurate and detailed representations of the current state of the oceans. With such data, scientists can model and predict both local phenomena, such as algal blooms or temperature changes, and global processes, including the impact of climate change on sea levels and ocean circulation. The program also aims to apply these models for managing fish resources, optimizing fishing practices to prevent population depletion, and ensuring sustainable use of oceanic resources. Furthermore, the digital twin of the ocean offers capabilities for predicting natural disasters, such as hurricanes and tsunamis, significantly enhancing the safety of coastal communities. This not only aids in developing emergency response strategies but also supports the planning of marine activities, including shipping and mineral extraction. Ultimately, the Destination Earth project opens new horizons for ocean science and management, providing unique tools for studying and protecting the marine environment. Biomimicry in marine technologies actively employs principles based on the adaptation of marine animals to create new robots and devices. For instance, fish-like robots, designed with the structure and movements of real fish in mind, exhibit high maneuverability, allowing them to effectively navigate complex underwater conditions. These devices can reach speeds up to 5 kilometers per hour and can turn on the spot, making them ideal for exploring narrow passages and hard-to-reach areas. Jellyfish, which serve as the basis for some underwater robots, are notable for their exceptional energy efficiency. Their movements require significantly less energy compared to traditional underwater vehicles. This is achieved through the unique mechanics of their swimming, which extends the autonomous operation time of such devices. Octopuses, with their remarkable ability to change shape and color, have inspired engineers to create robots that can adapt to various environmental conditions. These robots can be used for monitoring marine environments, collecting data on water temperature, pollution levels, and the state of marine ecosystems. Furthermore, the ability to create entire schools of such robots opens up new possibilities for large-scale data collection, which is particularly relevant in the context of climate change and the need to protect marine resources. These schools can work together, exchanging data in real time, significantly enhancing the efficiency of research. For example, a group of 10 or 20 robots can simultaneously investigate a large area, gathering information on various aspects of the ecosystem, which is impossible for individual underwater vehicles. The prospects of establishing permanent underwater research stations appear highly promising. For instance, the Proteus project, inspired by the works of Stanislav Lem, aims to create a habitable underwater laboratory that will enable scientists to conduct long-term research in deep-sea environments. Such stations could operate at depths of up to 200 meters, providing the necessary pressure and oxygen levels for comfortable living and working conditions. Technical solutions for prolonged underwater stays include life support systems that can convert CO2 into oxygen, as well as hydroponic plant cultivation, ensuring a sustainable food supply. The scientific potential of these stations would be immense. Researchers could study poorly understood deep-sea ecosystems and conduct experiments in conditions inaccessible to short-term expeditions. Long-term underwater residence would allow not only data collection but also real-time observation of ecosystem changes, which is impossible with brief visits. Additionally, permanent stations could serve as centers for education and science popularization, attracting students and researchers from around the world. This would be similar to how orbital space stations have become platforms for international cooperation in space, where scientists from different countries collaborate on common projects. Such underwater laboratories could become new bases for scientific discoveries that will change our understanding of life in the oceans, as the depths hide many mysteries waiting to be revealed. Within one of the projects, scientists are already considering how to effectively integrate underwater and terrestrial systems to study the impact of climate change on marine ecosystems. The sea has always been a dual symbol for humanity. On one hand, it is the cradle of life, where the first organisms emerged, and on the other, it is an insurmountable force capable of shattering any hopes of conquest. The ocean holds a multitude of resources, from fish to mineral deposits, yet it remains the guardian of countless mysteries, waiting to be discovered. Each time we gaze at the horizon, we realize that the ocean is not just a smooth expanse of water, but a living organism that demands respect and humility. It evokes a sense of awe, reminding us that even the most advanced technologies cannot fully unveil its secrets. Scientific research into marine ecosystems reveals that the ocean is not only a subject of scientific inquiry, but also an eternal symbol of the unknown, inspiring new discoveries and investigations. All these enigmas hidden beneath its surface remind us that we are at the edge of a vast world filled with possibilities and wonders. And when night falls and we sink into sleep, it is good to remember that under the sounds of invisible waves, the ocean guards our dreams and hopes, as it has guarded its secrets for millennia. Good night.